Hello, anyone who might be here, who might not be here. I don't know. Joseph's not here. Oh, fuck he is. Oh, why is this stream?
And I get it. You guys are trolls. That's your whole gimmick.
Dumb. Sorry, guys. I'll need to fix some things. Get that away.
Hello, Fightful Faithful.
Sparky's mama with the subscription on the Prime. Use the Prime. Subscribe. Oh, it's Knight followed. Traditionaire followed. Thank you guys. Hit him with the Prime. JJ. Hit him with your favorite Prime.
Hello, Fightful Faithful.
Easy Mode, thanks for following. Who's here? Traditionaire, what's up? Manny Boy. RWF Showtime. The EP. JJ. Baseball's Best. Chris Parrish. Greg
Hello,
Carter.
Fightful Faithful.
Oh no, Jonto has followed. Dan, what's going on? Cheese Nader, what's going on? Shook, what's up? Hey, everybody. I hope the Nets don't sign any of those guys. Baseball's Best. Suck on that. What's up, Justin?
Hello,
AC
Fightful
Punk
Faithful.
86, appreciate the follow. Imagine we will have some new pals here today because there's a lot going on in the world of wrestling. And Joseph has now messaged me that he is ready. He's
Hello,
late. I have
Fightful
started.
Faithful.
Little Mac 4110 or 410. Appreciate the follow. Let me call Joseph. And you can hear how I yell at him when I try to get the Skype to work.
And I get it. You guys are trolls.
Broken Hearted
That's your whole
Kid.
gimmick.
Appreciate the sub. Appreciate it, buddy. What up, Justin? It was either you guys or Shrewd.
And I get
so
it. You guys are trolls. That's your
appreciate
whole
it. And
gimmick.
Karana with the sub as well. We got a hype train. Oh, man. Easy E also with the sub. Easy E 7885. Man, thanks,
And I
guys.
get it. You guys are
Appreciate you
trolls.
guys.
That's your whole gimmick.
All right, let me call Joseph. A hype train going. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. My God. Big Franco, what up? Yeah, apparently there's a Jeff Jarrett promotion.
Hello.
Sure.
Fightful Faithful.
Marco 215. What's going on? And let's get Joseph on the line here.
Good evening, Jeremy.
Joseph, how are you?
Oh, this is very funny stuff. This is very funny stuff. I'll explain shortly. Can the people hear me?
I assume so. Let me know if you guys can hear Joseph. They can see you. I know that much.
Okay.
I assume it's working fine and everyone can hear you. Say something?
Oh, Al Horford.
There we go. Yeah. Everything should be good.
So I was talking with Cass earlier, right?
Yeah.
And, like, you two are the only guys I text, because other than that, it's like Twitter or WhatsApp and all that stuff, okay? So he's talking about God only knows what, and I just text him, let's go, all caps, at 20 minutes ago, which is what I would normally text you, right, Jeremy? Like,
Yeah.
let's go, let's get this show on the road. So I'm just sitting here, and I'm just like, yeah, like, Jeremy sometimes goes for a run, like, it's no big deal. Like, I just assume he's like 5 minutes late. I go on Twitter, and I see, we are live, and I was like, I don't think we are. You know? And then I clicked on it and I saw you sitting on your own. I was like, wait, what? Have I actually been fired for talking about Impact Homecoming? Then I realised I texted the wrong person. Very sorry, everyone. I'm here now.
What did Cass say?
He was like, I do that shit all the time. We were talking about, I don't know, it wasn't even anything important. And I was just like, out of the blue, just texted him, let's go.
You probably thought you had like a scoop for him or something.
Yeah. So we've got a big show here. I've just realised there's 81 people here, which
Yeah, you're about to kill them all off by talking about Impact Homecoming.
we're not doing that like until we cover the big hits, right? Like we've got to do that, and then we'll cover the show how much time we have. But
Hello,
yeah,
Fightful
man,
Faithful.
seems bad. There's 80 people in here already, right? Seems
Yeah,
bad.
not good at all.
No.
Just tell Sean to retweet it, and then we'll get a bunch of people.
Joel Pearl, Homecoming was good. I intend to review it, but I just don't know how much time we'll have. And Jeremy hasn't seen it, definitely. So
How dare you make that
you've
assumption?
not seen the show.
How dare you make that assumption?
Indeed. Look, listen, I intend to. I'll cover it best I can. But nonetheless, we have a lot to talk about, Jeremy.
We do. I'm posting.
What do you want to start with?
Do you want to start with this Lacey Evans article that I'm about to share with the world?
No.
Okay.
I'd actually rather we never talk about Lacey Evans again. The Fiend, Bray Wyatt. Do you think there's this many people here because we've attached ourselves to the Fiend, Bray Wyatt?
I think so. I wish we had the Fiend graphic to throw up. I'm sure I have it somewhere. I'm just too lazy to actually put it up.
Okay, let's do this like as though it's the distraction on YouTube, okay?
Okay.
What was your initial reaction to the news?
And I get it. You
Not
guys are
surprised because
trolls.
like
That's your
nothing
whole
they
gimmick.
do surprises me at that point or at this point. We rock all night. Appreciate the resubscribe, buddy, using the Prime. Yeah, not surprised because again, this is what they do, right? Like, I think it sucks. It obviously sucks, but at the same time, probably good. Because we talk about it all the time is like when these guys get released, like it's probably just best for them. Let them go out, create, do stuff on their own because it ain't gonna happen in WWE. We know the deal with Bray, right? Like we had a lot of fun with Bray, and like we get it, but we also understand this guy's like legs were just completely cut off from underneath him. And I think we know it. Granny Mac, appreciate the resubscribe. We got new follows. Jesus. JJC 710, Tom Coyle, UTV 97, appreciate you.
Hello. Fightful
JJ
Faithful.
cheered 200 bits as well. Luca Foley with the follow. Like, we know the deal with Mania. They didn't know the finish. Like the day of the match.
Oh, they knew the finish until they decided they had another finish.
Yeah.
Everyone thought the finish was obvious, which was Bray going over. But, you know, I don't know how to say this without sounding like an arsehole, but Jeremy, I think you can vouch. Like, a couple months ago when Braun got cut, you texted me and was like, bro, it's a big day tomorrow. They're going to cut some big names. And listen, guys, I don't say this with any joy or glee, but I said to Jeremy, fuck Bray. I said that, right?
Yeah, you did.
Because, frankly, and I don't say this as a criticism of Bray, though I do think the Fiend character was, you know... Like, look, I'll be honest with you. I think the Fiend character was one of those things that was very hard to book because unless it's the top thing on a show, it's kind of crowbarred in. That isn't a criticism necessarily because, in fairness, that was his like third character he'd given them. So I get it. But to me, it was just very clear he was at like a crossroads. Dude. Like I didn't see what there was left to do with him after Randy beat him. I thought there was a chance they'd do something with Alexa, but like that's obviously not. That was never their intention. And I don't want to be cynical about it, but I've kind of referenced it and alluded to it a lot on our show. Like, Mickey James's tweet has been the case for some time now. This stuff is a vehicle to move merchandise, and Alexa is now the vehicle. And, like, that... I don't say that as a knock on Alexa, because I think she's also going to be a victim of this, because, like, they're not doing anything with her either, right? Like, she's just on TV as a way to keep that shit, like, rolling. Yeah. And that's what Bray became. And I think the big turning point, I completely get why Roman seemingly wasn't keen on working with Bray. I completely get it. But that seems like when everything shifted to me, Jeremy. You know? Like, last fall, they were clearly setting up him and Roman. With the, you know, they had the Paul Heyman puppet and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like...
Hello. Fightful
To me, that when that went sideways, they never quite... They used Randy as just like this extended feud, but it never seemed like they had any plans for him. And with that, as you said, my conclusion is generally, well, if you don't have plans for the guy, let him go. That's my outlook. And now look, here's the thing with this. In terms of morale, of like, you know, the morale of the locker room, it's brutal because Bray is beloved. I mean, truly beloved. It would be a lot easier to swallow if he was one of two guys they'd cut all year and it was a case of, Bray, we haven't got anything for you, we wish you luck. It is not that, though. It is a mass exodus in which they are almost running people off, internally and out. I mean, Bray is the favourite wrestler of a lot of fans that don't watch anything but WWE. And I don't say that as a criticism, I say that as like a compliment. This is a really interesting decision in that regard, right? Like, what a kind of brutal, cold ending to his run, man. Like, they just cut him off, give his gimmick away, and left him. It's terrible.
Well, we talked about this when they did the big firings and whenever it was. They've done it literally every single month since April. Yeah. We talked about it. We talked about it then of like you're releasing Braun, like the women they released Mickey, the Iconics. Murphy, Alistair, like all these guys, like they all have ties to certain people. And Breeze is a big one with the
Hello.
up, down, down guys.
Faithful.
Jarrett, what's up, buddy? Jarrett following the channel, appreciate it, man. All these guys, and it's like you see these tweets about like a lot of their peers are. They're sad. They're wishing them well. They're wondering, okay, if it happens to them, can it happen to us, and everything. And Bray's just another example of this. Like I understand the show goes on, and these guys they'll be on TV tonight and this week, and they'll act like things are happy and good and stuff. But like, it's got to take a mental toll on. They're just gonna show up. Yeah, Dan mentions Ruby. We're gonna show up and just be like, we could get released, and even if we're not released, like our friends could get released. Like we don't know who's safe here, and like it's not great for morale, I would imagine. Sheamus can say like things are good, we're ribbing each other and whatnot, but I don't know, I'm sure some guys are happy and it's fine and they feel safe, but it feels like for a lot of these guys who are losing their friends, and especially going back out on the road, like these are a lot of road travel people for each other, and like if you're losing those guys, it's like, okay, well, who is left, what am I doing? And you miss your friends. Like, it's tough. You said it. You said it to me in Texas. Like they're digging their own grave with this stuff. Just these releases, because they're not only handing talent to other companies. Well, no, Bray's going to end up, but they're not only handing talent to other companies. They're upsetting their own talent, whether they want to come out and admit it or not. Like I'm sure a lot of those guys aren't too thrilled seeing friends and whatnot get released, and like they got contracts coming up, like Adam Cole's contract. We're gonna touch into that, but that is already up, and it seems like it's actually up at SummerSlam. Like they've released some of his friends. Like he can't be. I'm sure like Cole probably himself feels safe, but he might just be like, man, you're gonna release my friends. Like I'm just gonna go over here to this other company where I got my girlfriend, I got friends there. They seem pretty safe. I don't think the elite guys are gonna get released anytime soon.
It's almost as though they've been so protected for so long that they've built this system that is like increasingly incompetent, and now that there's like an alternative that isn't a million miles away in like the kind of things that wrestlers want, like we have live TV over AEW, you are touring the country, all this good stuff. It's almost like now all of these holes that they didn't even realise had appeared are coming back to bite them. Does that make sense? Like, yeah. It was okay to be this flawed when the other option was go and take 6 weeks of TV in the Impact Zone and, work with Russo and the gang. But with AEW being a much more kind of positive, in terms of perception anyway, promotion, it is a different thing. Now with Bray, here's where I'm really torn with Bray. If I came in last week and had the book for Raw, I probably would have said, listen man, I don't know what we can do with Bray. But that is really generous of me to say that about them, because they've had the book the whole time. So it didn't have to be this way, right? I mean, 2 years ago, Bray was their hottest character. A year ago, he was still a major character.
He was like we would SummerSlam a year ago.
Right, with Braun. So, I mean, we would talk a lot about it, like, the stuff with Alexa, whether you like it or not, and I completely understand people don't, for obvious reasons. I didn't love it, but like, I think it was over with an audience, right? Like, this is not a case of a guy who just fell down the card. It's a guy who was over huge and then became sort of just less over, but still over big, and then vanished. There's obviously more to the story, and that is not me speculating about anything in his personal life. That's me saying, like, you saw his little tweet, right, where he suggested, like...
Yeah, he was planting the seeds of his release, the Firefly Funhouse after SummerSlam, or WrestleMania.
Yeah, and I saw Sean did this at the start of his stream, so it's worth doing here too. Like, we are not going to talk about what he's like mental health. Like, that's just... But the fact that became a big topic because of one report from a guy you shouldn't trust is bullshit, and that really frustrated me. So we're not even going to get near that.
No.
What I will say is, based on Sean's report, who I trust, obviously, and what we can see in front of us, it feels very likely to me that WrestleMania was a case, Jeremy, of like, he left that whole thing thinking to himself, I can't let them keep killing me like this, Like, and Sean talked about how he was kind of pretty outwardly rejecting proposals, which makes me think, I think his words were he was protective of the character. It makes me think that at that point he was just like, man, I can't keep trusting the process on this shit, That's the way it seems like, right, Jeremy?
It would appear so, because Sean, I mean, the reason that he was given, talent was given, was budget cuts. And Sean has hinted that, like, he's not so sure that, like, that's the actual reason. And again, I don't know what the actual reason is. That was the reason that was given. It's a weird reason to, that's their standard reasoning. I get that. It's a weird reason to give after you're once again touting this revenue, and Bray is like a known merchandise mover for you. It ain't like this guy isn't bringing in money. Like a lot, you could say, okay, Buddy Murphy he ain't really bringing in money. If you want to be like, all right, we're paying him too much, what's he actually doing? Nothing. Like, Bray does good on the YouTube stuff, similar to Braun. Like, he does good on that stuff. He definitely moves merchandise and everything. A lot of it, too. They created that fucking Fiend title and charged $500 for it. Like, this guy moves merchandise. So budget cuts seems like a very weird reason. If he was, given proposals and rejected them, there's talk, I think, whatever it was. It was a lot. Yeah. Even worse then, I tried to be nice and say 500. The fact that it was 5,000, like, Jesus. Anyway.
Hello, Fightful Faithful.
According to, I think Dave said, like, there was plans for August. I think Sean backed that up as, like, there were pitches for him to return and plans for him to return and stuff. But, obviously it's not going to happen now unless Joseph, this is all the lore, and part of his release is to build to this character. These are takes online, Joseph. I don't know if you see this. These are takes.
Online was, I've never seen anything like what we were talking about. Like, it felt like a very simple situation to me, and it had become like this sort of, this web of just debate and conversation. It's like, look, man, I'm bummed for Bray's fans, because for me, as a wrestling fan, you mentioned Buddy Murphy a minute ago. We use him again because everyone knows I like that guy. Like, when he gets cut, like, my reaction is, oh shit, man, Buddy's going to have some cool matches here, there, and everywhere. I think it's different for Bray fans because this is not a diss to Bray the performer, but, like, he has created characters they adore, right? Yeah. So, like, they've invested time into the idea of the Fiend, and, like, the Fiend's gone now, Like, I'm sure he can come up with a new character, and he was a very creative guy, but, like, all of that investment was just cut off in one fell swoop of a statement. So I completely get people being upset. I personally, Jeremy, I would not reply to those fans and tell them that they are wrong for caring about a wrestler they like. I'm simply built different. But I think I really don't. I don't want to keep hitting the drum of the Alexa stuff, because I think obviously we all think it's just outrageous that she's got abused. But, like, we can't pretend it's not a part of this story, right, Jeremy? Like, it was pretty outward. Like, they just transported his audience to her, and, like, that's wild, man. Because we both know, like, she said so publicly, Bray wanted her in that world.
Yeah.
To do that and to take a double act that was popular, and then, like, just take away the core piece, the first ingredient, is, like, I think that's a big factor in all of this. Now, that's not me saying you should, like, obviously you don't blame Alexa. She hasn't got a clue what's going on. It's not her fault, but it just sucks. It's like, and now, and I see people saying in the chat about Chicago, like, listen, I'm fully convinced that tonight's going to be just brutal in every which way. But, like, I don't want anyone to be a dick about the wrestlers themselves. I'm just saying, I feel for Bray on the basics level of, he obviously brought a character that he wanted in his world in, and the reward for doing that kind of storytelling, which, again, you and I may have rolled our eyes, but, like, it got over, was he just got pulled from it. It's insane, dude. I don't know. I said at the time I didn't think that was enough of a story, and I stick to it. To me, that went completely under the radar. I don't know, Jeremy.
When Alexa took the gimmick, that part went.
And over the last month, they've distanced her, but, like, at the end of the day, we know who he is, right? And that sucks, dude. That's brutal.
I think it went under the radar because people didn't. People thought it was going somewhere. Like, people just didn't think that, like, oh, well, they're just giving Alexa this gimmick, and then that's the end of Bray Wyatt. Like, they thought it was going somewhere. They thought Bray was going to come back with some different character, or he'd still be the Fiend, whatever it might be. But there would just be a feud, right? Somehow him and Alexa would feud over whatever. And because now we know, like, okay, Bray's been released, this is going absolutely nowhere. Now it's easier to look back and say, like, oh yeah, they really did just like give this away and then did nothing with this guy. There was the hope that it was going somewhere. As we have learned many, many times, it didn't go.
Yeah,
it
I
didn't
never
go
believed
anywhere.
it was. You know, I mean, I had faults about it, but like I was always convinced it was as cynical as that. And then again, before we move on, let's just hit this again. Like this, it's very clear. This is not Alexa's fault, obviously, right? I'm not going to be sitting there hoping the Chicago crowd is a dick to her because it is not her call. She was pretty clear it wasn't her call, and it bummed her out as much as it did the fans. So I'm not trying to like do the kind of the take that we've weirdly seen on Twitter where I'm like throwing it her way. I'm just saying that part of the story feels very key in terms of Bray being protective of his character because he did something that ended up getting him cut out of the picture, you know, which is obviously is insane. But nonetheless, I think if you're a Bray fan, I think there's a lot to be excited about because if you're a Bray fan, you probably like his vision, and you like, you know, you like him being creative and like, listen, he's gonna go and do that. I think it's pretty obvious if he's gonna keep him staying wrestling where he goes. I get why people are like talking about him, you know, style and like it seems to me that he's just gonna go to AEW. Like you know, I say that with pretty confidently. I don't know about you, Jim. What do you think?
I think assuming he stays in wrestling, I think I texted you. I was like, Impact would be fun because they'll just kind of let him do whatever he wants. I think we've just kind of learned like all these guys are going to AEW, right? Like Tony's going to pay him the most. He'll be allowed to kind of do whatever he wants to do there. I do think they'll have to tone it down a little bit, like whatever they want to do, but people can be like, oh, it's not the Fiend isn't AEW for AEW's audience and stuff. Like, dude, AEW's audience are just disgruntled WWE fans, a good portion of them anyway, right? Like, he's gonna bring a lot of those, like, his fans over who are gonna enjoy that shit, and like it's all variety show kind of stuff anyway. Do I think they'll fully be able to get away with some of the stuff they were doing in WWE as far as like how hokey it was and whatnot? No. Do I think maybe it'll be that hokey in AEW? I also don't think that'll be the case either.
You're signing the performer, not the gimmick, you know, right. Like I just think he's going to come out saying else that's probably closer to the cult leader stuff. And
yeah,
look, man, I just think AEW is, you know, that's Brody's home, right? Forever. He looms large over that promotion. That promotion is Brody, and I just think if Bray wants to be there, which I assume, seeing as it's the biggest gig he does, like he's going to be there. You know, that makes sense. Like, I know that sounds awful sentimental, but I think, Jeremy, you share that's the way they view it, I feel. Like, that's Brody's guy, and if Brody was here, like we wish he was, he'd be standing right next to him, you know, in 3 months' time on Dynamite. So I just think he's got a home waiting for him, is the thing. If he stays in wrestling, obviously.
Yeah, and he doesn't need to lead the Dark Order or whatever, although I get, like, that's a good story. Like, Bray, he's clearly a creative guy, right? Like, we have fun with the Bray stuff. We did on our show, especially with the Fiend stuff and the hokiness of it. I tweeted this, like, you can say, like, Bray Wyatt wasn't for you, and obviously the Fiend stuff, outside of us, you know, having our jokes with it, like, it wasn't really for us. That dude got characters over, like, multiple characters to that audience, and it could have been, like, he could have been an even bigger deal just with better booking. I still say it, and, like, you know I'm a John Cena guy. I was at WrestleMania 30. I was stunned when John Cena beat him that night. And, like, as a John Cena fan and just living in that moment, I thought it was great. I was like, oh, cool. Like, as a wrestling fan and thinking logically of, like, what should happen in this match, I could not understand why John Cena won that match. I just couldn't. And this happened so many times with Bray. Yeah. Like, the infamous show where we got called trolls when Goldberg beat Bray, and we were just like, who gives a shit? Like, you know, it's Goldberg, haha, laugh, have fun, could barely jackhammer him. Like, again, as dorks and trolls, we thought it was funny. As logical wrestling fans, we completely understood, like, this is stupid and why is this happening?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, and that's the one X factor that I think is very interesting. Is while I'm not a huge fan myself, it must be said it's fascinating that like this is the ultimate WWE guy,
Yeah.
right? Like when the revival didn't work out, it was like, man, you guys are really bad at this. But at the same time, like they're a team that if it all was right in the world and apparently is now getting back that way, would have been in Crockett all along anyway, right, Jeremy? Then there's no big deal. Bray Wyatt is like the most WWE. As you said, he's come up with two different incarnations that are like the most WWE thing ever. They're like IP magic. You can do so much merchandise, and they did do it, and it sold, and it got over, and he was pushed. To an extent, like he wasn't like he was a guy like an Aleister Black talks a lot about how he feels like nothing he did was of significance. Like it didn't matter. He was just on TV for a couple of years. Bray was very much factored in for a lot of his run.
Yeah.
It's just when push came to shove, they would always go the other way, and that's why, like, I can't really be, and again, it's easy for me to say I'm not a fan, but I can't really be sad about it, because to me it's like, listen, man, they've said enough times they don't think the guy is what his kind of popularity suggests he should be, right? Because when it comes down to it, they always go elsewhere. Like, he won the belt with the main event of SummerSlam, and he was a transition to Roman. Because they think Roman's a bigger deal, and I would agree, but, like, the thing with Bray that makes him such an anomaly and why people love him so much, he isn't a guy that you can just say, well, we'll get some good TV matches out of him.
No.
I mean, he's a guy you have to commit to, and you have, like they did with Taker, he wasn't the champ all the time, but he was always factored in. Like he wasn't going to just be kind of forgotten out on the outskirts. So he's definitely a victim of the system. I'm intrigued by what I'm not saying I'm like excited or anything, because for me, a lot of his tastes doesn't seem to match up with mine, and that's fine, right? Wrestling's variety. I'm all for it, but I don't know, man. It seemed concerning to me that a guy like that who was so outwardly for their product, they've managed to like completely, reach a screeching halt with. But I guess this is where they're at now, man. Like, if you're getting paid well, you're a target at this point, and that's very, very scary, Jeremy. That's a scary place to be. If you got a lofty, wage, you're like, I don't want to say you're on the chopping block because that sounds really like morbid, but like. It kind of seems that way, right, Jeremy? I mean, if you're getting paid well, you're almost more vulnerable. So I don't know.
It certainly seems that way. Like, again, you would think there are names out there like, all right, they're not going to release this person, and if they're doing it to Bray and Braun, like Braun had just headlined or was in the WWE title match at the pay-per-view. He had a big match against Shane McMahon at WrestleMania. Bray, top of the card for years. And then they're just like, no, gone. Like, it seems like nobody is really safe in that environment. There's obviously a select few, but there aren't many names that are going to surprise you as far as who's going to get released. I hope Bray, first and foremost, whatever he does next, I hope he's well, and whenever he decides to commit to movies or wrestling, whatever he decides to do, like, I'm going to follow the guy. I do respect the fact that he wants to be creative on this stuff. And I got some shit on Twitter this week. I got a lot, but for these wrestlers, how many times do we have to say it? Most of them, they don't care about like these titles and these moments and stuff. Like they just wanna be creative, right? Like they just want to go out there and they want to create. And Bray got to create more than a lot of people would. But even him, because his vision is so, like, outside the box on a lot of things, like, even he was just cut off on how much he was able to create. Yes. And for a guy like him, like, he just wanted more. And look, I'm never going to be mad at people who want more, all right? I think something's wrong with you if you don't want more, honestly. Like, I don't think it's ever good to just be content. And be like, yeah, I'm good. Like, what's happening's happening. Like, Bray wanted more. He wanted to see his vision actually play out. And it sounds like, and I don't know if this to be true or anything, but, like, it sounds like he had a lot of things, like, fleshed out, ready to go, and ready to put on television. And that, kind of like with Aleister, like, that shit just doesn't work in WWE, right? Like, trying to flesh out, like, an 8-month story or whatever, that just ain't working in WWE. We go back to it, to the WrestleMania thing, where they changed that finish the day before, the day of, whatever it was. Like, that's when they changed that finish. And it seemed like all signs point to, yeah, Bray's going to win this thing. And we move on to the next piece. And it's like, nah, Randy's going to win. We don't really know where we're going, but good luck.
Yeah, and it reminds me of that, CM Punk famously, when he was going to leave, he told, I want to say it was Kofi he was riding with, I think he goes, I just wish I didn't care, and I could just come in here, check in and out, and get paid really well, but unfortunately I care. And I think when you talk about a guy like Bray, he's a good example of that.
I said I have a point on that, but go ahead.
Okay, cool. I mean, he's a good example of that, and I'll just hit the note you just said, man. Like, Mania, I think, was one for you and I as people that had fun with his whole storytelling, just for content's sake. I think it was one where we both kind of had to stop ourselves and be like, man, I feel bad for this guy.
Yeah.
Like, because that whole story had been... Like, look, man, we've got to be real about this. Like, some of that was some terrible television. And Alexa and Randy were like, they had like 4 months to fill, and it was not good, a lot of it. But like, to get to the end point, to get to the end game, and people are kind of with it, like they cheered the entrance and all that good stuff. And then to do that, and it's just like, I will never forget, dude, the finish of that match, the lights going out, and then coming back onto nothing, and the crowd just booing, and it was like, man, you really... Like, I get it, let it play out. Like, this is WrestleMania in front of fans for the first time you've seen fans in a year. Like, you really just sent out 3 people to die, Like, they had no chance, did they? And I'm sure that'll win worse match and all that good stuff, and maybe so, maybe it should have been. But, like, to me, that weren't nothing on the... That was just 3 people trying their best, man, and just getting sent out there like lambs to the slaughter. Like, it's a shame. And I mean, that's when you and I stopped our silliness. We didn't ever think it would end this quickly, but, like... I'm not going to sit here and say I'm surprised, man. Like, my outlook on all this stuff now is they've told us who they are for long enough, We don't need to keep selling every time they do some shit that we think's wrong or unfair. Like, at this point, they've told you for long enough, and it's like shouting at a guy with headphones on. They're not listening, they're not hearing, they don't care. Just let them do their thing at this point. That's my genuine outlook, Jeremy. I know that's cynical and kind of maybe even mean-spirited, but, like... I can't be surprised. They've cut so many wrestlers that I love. And again, I'm not going to say Bray's on that list for me, but like they've cut loads of guys that I enjoy. Like I'm not surprised at all. This is the shit they're doing right now. They don't care who it is or who likes them. They're just doing it. So go ahead, Jeremy. What was you going to say?
Give me 1 second.
Okay, you go. We've got a lot of followers. We're still at 117 views, which is my God, it's a lot of people. By the way, guys, just to be clear, while Jeremy finishes doing actual work there, like, if you're a big Bray fan, please know that I'm speaking for myself. I'm not like, my kind of disillusion is not aimed at him. I wish him well. I think he'll do good. But it's just like, I struggle to, I don't know, man. I don't want to be the guy that, like, every time there's bad news is like, man, I can't believe they would do this. It's like, I can believe it very much, actually. They do it very often. As you said, they've done it every month since April. I'm, at this point, very well adjusted.
They waited till the last day in July. It was close cut there.
Close, yeah.
In July.
There you go. But anyway, you were going to say, I mentioned the Punk quote, and you said something on that point.
Yeah, you mentioned Punk told Kofi, like, I wish I didn't care. I could just clock in, clock out, and that would be it. Literally today, transcribed a Tyler Breeze interview he did with Aiden English. And Breeze was asked, like, his least favorite moment in WWE. And he recalled back to FCW, and he's talking to Norman Smiley. And the quote is, no matter what I did, I could not figure it out. I was just trying to figure out the system, and I just can't. Norman Smiley told me, hey, man, you care too much. I said, how can I not care? This is all I've ever wanted to do. Now I'm here, and I'm going to get fired if I don't figure this out. What is happening? He said, you'll understand what I mean eventually. Years later, I understand what he meant. You have to care enough so that when your number gets called and you have an opportunity, you look good and are in shape and you can do everything they need you to do. But until that point, you better detach and unplug, because you're just going to sit there and stew and get miserable and miserable. That's it. Like, you can't care. Like, that's what it seemed like. Norman Smiley told him he cared too much, and that was his issue.
I would prefer that every professional wrestler strive to care elsewhere. But I completely agree that if you sign, I saw Bree said this much.
Yeah.
If you enter this system at that point, if you enter that system at this point, brother, you're not, blissfully ignorant at this point. I mean, we know the stories, we know the situation. So, and I see the chat's question, like, listen, Norman is just trying his best to prepare these guys for what he knows is waiting. That's the truth of it. And, I just think that's a real shame.
Yeah, Breeze.
A real shame.
Breeze, I mean, I headlined it, so I knew people would just read the article, everybody.
Yeah.
But Breeze basically said, like, you sign a piece of paper for a certain amount of money, and, like, you're gonna sit on the bench until you get used. Like, that's what you're signing up for nowadays. He equated it to a casting call. It's like, you sign up, you might get used, you might not, but, like, when you sign up, this has to be your expectation. Like, if you don't get used, don't go online and complain, because this is what you signed up for. Look, is this the right mentality to have? Is this the right way to look at it? I don't know. I respect that Breeze actually realizes that this was the case when he signed his new deal, whenever it was. Of like, I'm going to sign this deal, and if I don't get used, okay. And if I do get used, great. I'll be ready. Because that is the unfortunate reality of the WWE situation right now.
I agree. With that in mind, let's transition to a guy who has a big decision ahead. Right?
Ric Flair.
That's already sealed. We both know that. Adam Cole, Bye.
Yes.
He is seemingly he is allowed the folks at NXT, at the kindness of his heart, he has allowed them kind of conclusion to this arc, so to speak. He's going to get to SummerSlam weekend where he will reevaluate and choose what he's going to do next, because he was out of contract 6 full months before they knew he was out of contract, even though he was the one wrestler that everyone had circled in NXT and said he may jump ship. They didn't know when he was going to leave. Jeremy, amazing stuff. But look, nonetheless, what is your read on that situation? What did you expect to happen? What do you want to happen as a fan? I think you're allowed to say that about getting arrested. All of that good stuff, man. Where are you at on this? I think you're a pretty big Adam Cole Bay guy, right?
I do. I like him much more than you. You can't stand the Adam Cole.
No, complete lie. Like that time you said I hate Volta. It's not true. I'm not.
Do it with me, Joseph. Do it. You ready? Ready? 1.
What we doing?
2. You know what we're doing. Come on. Right? Adam Cole, baby!
Oh, yeah. And he does this one. He does this, right? Is that what he does?
Boom!
Yeah, that's it. Now look, I'll be okay. Now you make me look an asshole. We've got no viewers this. Now I have to cleanse it. I'll be honest, I'm not desperate to see him in AEW at all. I think he's cool. I think he's a really good promo. I like his matches within reason. I think sometimes he gets a little much. And, like, there are guys that AEW is going to push in the next couple of years that I prefer, personally. However, like, I just find it hilarious, the idea of him. just all of this is funny to me. So I'm cool with whatever happens. But as a fan, like, what do you expect? I kind of just think, like, the fact that he's given him 6... Like, I kind of think he's staying. 6 more weeks, sorry. I kind of think he's staying, frankly.
I mean, I think he gave them that time to obviously wrap up this arc with Kyle O'Reilly, because we need this match again. You see, they're continuing this feud. O'Reilly attacked him after he beat Bronson Reed. Like, it seems like they're going to be headed for a TakeOver 36 match. They've already had an unsanctioned match, and they had a straight wrestling match. What do you do at TakeOver 36? A ladder match, I assume, for the rights.
Leaves town.
Loser leaves town. That would actually be like a good shout of like, oh well, we know Adam Cole is definitely losing this, and then Cole wins. That'd be good. No, they're just gonna do a ladder match, Joseph. That's what they're gonna do, right? Like,
probably.
They love that.
Yeah,
they love those matches for the rights to the Undisputed Era. Is what they're gonna get.
Sorry to hear that. What do you think? What do you think, seriously?
I think he's going to AEW. That's what I truly think.
Bro, this is a clown show. Like, seriously, I do not want to do Fed bad, Fed dead, any of these things. I swear, I have no intention of even talking about it anymore. I cannot stress this enough. There is one wrestler in NXT that every fan that follows one of them on Instagram was like, Adam Cole, Britt Baker, maybe he'll go to AEW. How do you not know when his deal expires? Seriously, this is insane, dude. They're like, this is outrageous times. Like, it's a wild wrestling landscape because people are doing good, but it's also because the top company, the industry leader, is so incompetent right now. Dude, Adam Cole could have been on Dynamite one night after beating Kyle O'Reilly on, like, the Tuesday.
Yeah.
He could have just, and he's such a nice guy. Adam Cole, famously awesome human being, that he wouldn't do that anyway, even if he knew he was leaving. Like, he just wouldn't. And, like, Hitman Punk said he's going to put over O'Reilly. So, like, that's cool. I just, my instincts are him doing that is him staying. But, like, you could be right. He could just be a nice guy. And he could just be like, I'm going to, you know.
You could be a nice guy, but, like, if your employer is this incompetent, like, that's on them. You know? That's on them. That ain't my fault. I'm a nice dude, but like, I
agree. But we know that's his rep, man.
I know, this is a big reason why I am an Adam Cole fan. Beyond what I enjoy him on screen, but just seems like, and by all accounts, is the nicest fucking dude. I think he goes to AEW because I truly, like, he could stay in NXT. Right, like, he can stay in NXT and just keep doing the same shit he's been doing. And maybe he's happy with that. Maybe he really is. And, like, you know, he doesn't have to travel. They ain't going nowhere. They live in Florida anyway. Like, it's probably a nice... I'm sure he's paid well. It's probably a nice little gig until Nick Khan sees the numbers and is like, wait, we're paying this guy how much to wrestle in front of 200 people a week, if that? Then it might be a different issue. But... he could easily stay there. I don't think he's like a main roster guy, and I think he's more. I think he knows it enough to be like it's just not gonna work if I go up to on Raw or SmackDown. I think he's smart enough to like know that. Like, dude, AEW, he's got friends there. He's got his girlfriend there. Like, it ain't like he'll be lacking for opportunity in AEW. It's almost come to the point where, you know, everyone sees what's going on in AEW, and it's like, well, how do you not want to go to this? Everyone talks so highly of it. You clearly get your freedom across and everything. You get to do the outside opportunities and whatnot. It just seems like the best place in the world to work. So if you're a guy like Adam Cole, like, why wouldn't you want to work there? Yeah, people mentioned, like, you can go to do PWG and New Japan and all this stuff. Like, you just get all these extra opportunities. I don't know what these guys actually want. Maybe Cole is just fine. Like, he's happy in NXT. Again, he doesn't have to travel. Sure, he gets paid well, especially compared to the rest of the... He can still stream. Cole isn't one of those guys who's like having to give up his like Twitch stream or anything. He does the up, down streams and whatnot too. It does come down to just like what these guys want. My gut is just that, like, there's so much opportunity for him in AEW, and I feel like he wants to explore that more than just, all right, let me face Kyle O'Reilly for the 300th time.
I think you're underestimating how much he enjoys NXT. Genuinely.
Very, yeah.
Because I think he just likes it. He's like the top guy there, and frankly, I think he likes just sitting with Shawn Michaels and watching wrestling, and I think he likes all of that shit. I'll say this, if I was advising him, I think there's something to signing like a 1-year deal. Because I will say, like, he's a big name. CM Punk, Bryan Danielson are...
them coming in at the same time, that is a tough
not ideal.
Right, yeah.
And, like, he comes in... I think... Okay, let's have some fun with this. MJF or Adam Cole, who's higher on your big board?
My personal big board?
Yep.
I kind of like Adam Cole better.
Okay, that's fine. He has a higher... Like, his match ceiling is higher, right? Like, I get that. And he's also a good promo, so I'm with that. So, who's their top heel is Kenny. Would you take him before you took Kenneth?
No. Especially not this version of Kenny.
Okay, Miro?
Oh, you know I'm a big Miro guy.
Okay, so on your board, he would probably be their third top heel.
Yeah.
Right, that's good.
Yeah.
That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Baby faces. That is going to become a problem, I think. Now, not a problem. Look, I mean, it's embarrassment of riches, but like, there's a lot of dudes on that side. That's why I kind of think Punk might subvert. He might just shock everyone and be an asshole immediately. But either way, look, I'll be honest. I do think there's a lot to. I do think there's a lot to Cole just staying for a bit longer and chilling. But if he signs a 5-year or 3-year, it kind of feels like he just likes spending time with Shawn Michaels at that point. You know, I don't know. I think a big part of it is money, dude. Like, I think he still gets paid like an NXT top guy, and that's just horse shit for what his overness is. Like he needs to be paid like a main roster guy that they just say to him, like, we don't think you're getting called up, but like you're a megastar for us here, so we're going to pay you as such. You know, that's what has to happen, really.
See, I do think I probably do underestimate how much he enjoys NXT because he is treated like a god there. Like, he can pretty much get away with anything he wants to do. Like, I'm sure if he suggested, hey, I want to work with this guy, I want to do this, I want to do that, it's fine. He always speaks very highly. We know, like, he loves Shawn Michaels, and he always speaks highly of Triple H as well. At the same time, like, gotta see the writing on the wall with this stuff. Like, what is NXT? Like, is that what you want to do? I'm fine with the short-term deal. If he wants to do, like, 1 year, see, like, what he can do in, like, 1 year and go from there, cool. But, like, man, what else? Like, what else are you doing in NXT? There's just... It's not like they're cycling in new guys for you to wrestle. You want to do the match against Samoa Joe? Like, is that what you want to do? Like, he's even already wrestled, like, Carmelo Hayes, like... You know, there's guys that, like, he could wrestle. It'd be good matches, like Swerve. Like, him and Swerve would be great and everything, but I just don't know, like, what else he's doing in NXT.
Yeah. I think it's a shame that, like, the Adam Cole fans I follow are, like, desperate for him to jump for the most part, which seems bad. You know? So I'll ask you, you're a fan, like, how... I know you don't, like, really care, but, like, how fired up would you be if he did go to the Fleet? Or do you not? Are you just sort of in the middle? Would you be fired up? Would you pop out your chest and shit if you signed for the All Elite Fleet?
Joseph, do I get, like, fired up about, like, anything in wrestling?
I think secretly you do, you know?
Fair.
When that
Look, when Final Countdown
Yeah.
hits on Wednesday's Dynamite, I'm going to go insane. Are you kidding me? Yeah, would I be fired up if Adam Cole shows up? No. Like, I'm not that much of an Adam Cole fan compared to, you know, my top favorites. But I'd be excited to see Adam Cole. I'm excited to see anybody there. That company's so, like, hot right now with everything they're doing that, like, anybody that shows up, I'm like, oh yeah, how are they gonna use this guy? And he's gonna jump in. Well, the John Cena's theme is John Cena's theme. I mean, that shit hits anywhere. I'm fired up. That shit could be playing at a Walmart, and I'm, like, tossing the clerks with the FU and stuff. It'd be good. Like, I'm excited to see him. I'd be excited to see him in AEW. Cole is such a guy. Like, I get why people who you see him and you don't think, like, oh yeah, like, this is your top guy, like, this is the guy. I get that. He doesn't have, like, that stature about him, right?
No, but he has a presence. Big presence, right?
You think so?
I think so, yeah. Like, I think he commands an audience in impressive fashion, you know?
See, I think so too, but I can see why other people who just look at him and they're just like, oh yeah, like, this isn't... Maybe that's too much of, like, main roster WWE mentality for myself.
No, I think he looks a certain way. I agree, but it's like his actual physical charisma, I think, is a lot larger than guys that are but a lot bigger, you know? Like, the guy that's got the NXT title can't... His physical charisma isn't on the scale of Adam Cole. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Feels like he's got something, that's all. But I'm not going to say he's The Rock. But, like, he's definitely a guy that could show up on Dynamite and you'd be like, oh my god, he's their top guy. He could do that, dude. Like, he gets over, so I don't know. Speaking of presence and all that good stuff, your thoughts on Ric Flair signing with AEW, Jeremy?
Doesn't this say, like, a lot that Ric Flair is just like, I'm not happy with what you're doing with me. Can I just be released?
Such a mess, dude.
Like,
But imagine just, like, when Rick says to you he hates the angle, imagine not just being like, okay, we won't do it.
Yeah.
Rather than just forcing him to do it and, making his daughter uncomfortable and all this stuff. Just, I don't know, man. It's, like, I'm not, I mean, you're so desperate for Ric Flair at AEW, right? But, like, he's a guy that he goes there, you make the action figure, you put him in the video game, he does some meet and greets, he says woo a couple of times, stands next to Andrade in the suit, like, I don't know, man, it's Ric Flair. Like, he's just going to go and sign there and be treated like a legend like all these other legends have been. What a strange time, dude. Like, just what a puzzling... Like, legends are going there to just sort of be legends. It's just bizarre. I don't know. I mean, he's a guy WWE famously, and they give themselves a lot of credit for it, he famously rebuilt his legacy in WWE where they treat him as a big deal, and it's like, he's become... And look, he's a crazy old man, we get it, but, like, the stuff they have him do on TV is just brutal, So, I don't think he's got anything left to offer on screen, really, beyond just being like, woo, which I agree, woo. Like, he's Ric Flair. Like, if you can get that guy in your kind of universe, you do it, right?
They've proven that they are, like, good at just how they utilize these legends, right? Like, I mean, how many have we seen jump over the past couple of months? Sting, Paul White, Mark Henry, and then you didn't even factor in, like, Taz, Vicky, Tully Blanchard, right. Jake Roberts, like, all these people, like, they find screen time for them, or they just find something for them to do, like, regardless. And I mean, Flair, we know Tony Khan loves Flair, absolutely loves Ric Flair. He will find something for Ric Flair to do, even if it's turn on Sting one last time. Like, that's what I want. Just bring him in to turn on Sting. Just like every couple of months, he just turns on Sting. That's all he does.
See, this is where, like, they're in a different position than TNA ever was, where, like, TNA did this stuff over a decade ago, but rolled their eyes, and it's like, I'm, like, talking myself into all these different things with Ric Flair.
Yeah, because TNA tried to, like, build around these guys, and that was the issue.
It's not even, like, it's just different, right? Like in Impact, he was there in front of 400 people that had, like, come to go on some roller coasters, and they were like, "Oh, it's Ric Flair!" Like, he's gonna do these shows, and, like, someone mentioned Orange Cassidy. He's gonna do the kick spot with Orange Cassidy, and it's gonna fucking rule. Like, all of this stuff's gonna rule. It's gonna be funny. I don't know, man. Like, I get people roll their eyes, but it's becoming this, like, just weekly wrestling festival. And, like, if you can just sprinkle some fucking Ric Flair, like, you just do it, right? Like, he's outrageous. He's out of his mind. So, it didn't surprise me at all, because Rick is, Rick's going to do what he does, right? He sits there in his interviews and he's like, I hated WCW, and then he'll come out on Turner and be like, finally, here we are, back on TNT. Like, it's all fun and games, but I'll say this much. I mean, I've said 1,000,001 times on these things. He's like, I think she's a lock. I think she is a lock, Jeremy. And I think it's going to be hilarious that, like, they think they're booking her strong now. Wait until she gets 6 months on her deal left. Then she's going to win the thing every week. She'll win it on house shows, dropping it on the Sunday house show, winning it back on Raw. It's going to be hilarious. Like, I'm convinced. I have been for the longest, you know this. But, like, Rick's over there. Jesus wept, Lambert. This is going to be a ride, let me tell you.
I mean, Rick's over there. Her fiance's over there.
Yeah, man. The machine gun Carl Anderson's over there. Who else does she know over there?
I'm sure she knows a lot of people over there.
The other 20 people they cut before she leaves will be there. It's just.
What's your best use? What's your best use of Rick in AEW?
I think it's probably Andrade, right? It's just funny, the idea of him, like, calling Rick dad and stuff is just funny. Like, it is, like, Rick with the suit, all of that stuff, man. It's just funny to me. So I don't really think there is an actual good use of him on, like, weekly television at this point, because the thing with Rick is, and it is a little bit of an elephant in the room, is he can't really talk, can he, anymore, I mean, he can literally
he's
talk,
just
like,
parody
in the
of
wrestling,
himself.
The wrestling sense, he's not going to be going out there cutting great promos, But if you can get, like, a couple out of him, and he calls, like, Ed Kingston Fat Boy or something on television, I think At the end of the day, you roll the dice on it. But again, it's the video game, the action figure, the meet and greet, the T-shirts. Like, it's this big. It's the idea that there is no way you could have ever had any interest in wrestling and not find something to pop for at AEW. That's the idea, right? Let's be honest. That's what it is. Like, oh, you fell out of wrestling when Punk left? Guess what? Punk's back now. Watched wrestling in 40 fucking years. We got Ric Flair. 30 years. We got Sting. Like, it's lunacy. I don't know, man. It's like a wrestling asylum. I don't know what they're gonna do with him. They'll probably do something I don't expect, and it'll be hilarious. He'll probably manage like Nyla Rose or some shit. I don't know, Jeremy.
Put him with the best friends. Put him with the best friends.
We still sit here and we think about these things. We map them out and we predict. And it's like, hey, they closed last week's show with Nick Gage followed by a Hoovy announcement. I don't know. They can certainly find out for Ric Flair. You know? It's bonkers, dude. I just. Someone said it in the chat a moment ago. It's like, it's so true. Wrestling 3 years ago was the most stagnant, boring thing ever because it was like the elite guys are trying their best, but WWE signed everyone, and it's just now it feels like anyone could go anywhere, right? It feels like a completely chaotic landscape. So Ric Flair's he's just the icing, brother. He's like, he didn't shock me at all. The big shock out of these 3 stories, which we should actually kind of have some fun with. I don't know about you, Jeremy. My big shock of these 3 stories was Adam Cole. That was the one that I actually, like, I was like, wow, they are that incompetent. The other 2, it made sense for both. Like, it was very WWE, the Bray thing, and it was very Ric Flair, this thing that he would just be like, especially because, like, Jim Ross, like, Jim Ross was like, hey, man, they're paying me this much. And he was like, that much, huh? Text Tony, next thing you know, he was on the phone to Vince, let me out, chief. So, neither of those surprised me. Adam Cole, I was just like, I can't have made a mess of this, you know? So, what about you? Was that the one that stood out to you, Jeremy?
The incompetence stood out to me. The Coles contract being up did not shock me.
Yeah. Okay, I'll leave it there. Yeah, look, I think it's wild that we would, like, when we first started this show, our plan was to do 1 a week, and it's like, bro, we would lose our minds keeping track of the stories, right? I mean,
could you imagine if we didn't talk about this shit till Thursday? Like, it would be old news.
Right? Dude, Bray was Saturday, and he already kind of feels like the one that's furthest away from the mind, right? Like, you had 2 big stories since then, so. What do you think, by the way, Bray's going to do in terms of, like, release rollout? Like, is he going to do a shoot with someone, or is he going to do, like, some weird YouTube video from the shit? What's he going to do?
It's going to be on Jericho's podcast, right? Isn't that what everybody does?
See, I feel like he's going to do something weird, you know?
I think so, too. I think he's going to... I just hope he, like, shows up on Twitch.
In gimmick.
Yeah, just Bray Wyatt on Twitch.
He's like trees behind him, Braun standing over his shoulder. Just cuts promos on Twitch for hours. He's like, this is the unedited take on these, you know? It was used to stop me after 10 minutes, but now I'm rolling. Yeah, I don't know. I am interested what he says. Again, I'm not a huge Bray fan, but I am fascinated what his read on the whole thing is because, as you mentioned, Jeremy, he always clearly had ideas and plans, and like, man, they certainly didn't let those things go far. So, I don't know. I think I'll say this for Bray: it's a huge compliment to Bray that he had the run he did, and it still feels like a massive underachievement. That's pretty impressive, right? Like, Bray had a run that, is, like you said earlier, he had a lot more creativity than most. Brother, most guys would love to have the run Bray had. And it's like, man, they fucked Bray up completely. Like, it shows you the potential he seemingly had at times. But that's the story, man. I don't know. I mean, I always think it's interesting when these things happen because it's like it puts a bow on the run, right? Like, we always had these criticisms of the Bray stuff, but now it's ended. It's like, shit, I guess they're not going to undo this one. I guess that's just the story of Bray and WWE. Maybe he'll be able to change things elsewhere. I hope so, for his sake. There you go. Anything else from those 3 stories, Jeremy? Free agency is about to start, which means Cole Air will be announced at 1 minute past. It's just a never, right? So,
I don't think...
anything else?
I don't think there's anything else from those 3 stories.
Okay. Let's just let the chat roll in for a minute. See what people say.
Okay.
I want to see if anyone has any questions. Did Tommy End do Jericho? He did not, right?
No, I have a strong feeling he's going to be on tomorrow's episode.
Is that a scoop?
No, it's a bit I've been doing every week since he's been released.
Oh.
I've tweeted one day because Jericho drops episode. He actually drops them on Wednesdays and Fridays, and the day before I always tweet. I have a feeling that Malachi is going to be on Jericho's podcast tomorrow.
That'll be one of those ones where Chris like pretends he watched the stuff and he's like, man, that match you had with that was a killer match. Dude. That was great. Jeff Jarrett Promotions.
Yeah, what is
Listen,
this?
It's the best thing that ever happened to us. Listen, this thing gets announced, we ascend at that point. Like at that point, because here's the thing, okay? You know for a fact that if Jeff's doing something, it's going to be hysterical. But I think there's layers to this. Here is my legitimate, unironic sell to you, Jeremy Lambert. I am not convinced in terms of reporting. I am convinced in terms of my heart because my instincts are so good. I know my heart tells me that Conrad has bought the WCW license. And he will. He will give it to Double J and Big Bish. And at that point, I retire, you retire, Sean retires, Fightful closes down. We all just never watch again because we know it can't get better than that initial press release. It's either that or he has actually brought Ring of Honor, as what happened in our TEW. And if that's the case, holy shit, that's the funniest thing that ever happened. So, something's happening, man. It's Double J.
What's happening is Lonzo Ball is going to the Bulls.
Oh, that's always been the thing.
4 years.
How
He's
much money?
Is he not restricted? Can the Pelicans match, or am I a lunatic?
No, they can, yeah.
Okay, are they?
I mean, how much is it? 85 million?
4 years, 85 million.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I wouldn't match that. I'd just let him go. But like, if you're the Pelicans, they got so much pressure to like do something with Zion. So
I don't get why Bob's like so fired up about this. I don't understand. Like,
dude, he's a
nice player.
Hey,
like,
there he goes.
Christ.
O'Neill's in the chat. Lonzo Bull.
Oh,
Says.
fuck off, Bob. Anyway, listen, right? So, did you see the Jeff Jarrett thing? Like, there's actually smoke. There's fire to this smoke. Did you see this?
No, I haven't seen anything with this Jeff Jarrett stuff.
They asked him on Patreon, "Are you getting back in wrestling?" And he just smiled, and Conrad moved on. Probably, he's actually coming back. and then Raj in his little scoop was like, promotions that are not even in professional wrestling right now. Brother, we're buying the NWA or something's happening. This is what we need. The business needs another territory led by Double J. That's because AEW's like really competent and good. We need some Double J action in here. It's just beautiful, man. Imagine Jeff building around Bray and Braun, bro. Oh my god.
Man.
Oh my god, working a program with Bray where Bray like invades his house like he did with the Miz that time. Oh my god, Jeff gets juice after like 1 minute of the match. Fuck, this is what we need, dude. I'm ready to go. The business. Listen, in this next year, something will happen that makes me retire. You know that, right? And I mean that in a positive. Like I would just at some point go, "That's it, Jeremy. It's over. We can't talk about this anymore. It's too good." Something's gonna happen. WCW's probably it. Let's be honest. At this point, WCW's probably it. I don't know. I don't know what to say. How excited are you about Jeff Jarrett getting a promotion?
I'm always excited, no matter what Jeff Jarrett does. No matter what,
Factual.
Joseph.
He's just a wonderful man, and he just speak about how he's amazed that fans like the granular stuff on his podcast. Just
you
great.
listen to his
what
podcast?
time. I do listen. Yes, he's good. He's a good podcaster.
Is he?
Probably
Okay.
better at that than wrestling promotion. But listen, man, he's a lunatic. I love it. My God. Mike Conley is back to the Jazz. 3 years, 68 million.
That.
Yeah, that always made sense.
Sean Ross Sapp is here. He's
Yes.
going to give his free agency thoughts. Tim Hardaway Jr. staying with the Mavericks. That was pretty obvious. They got to do something else. That team sucks.
I'm glad that Sean's only talking about NBA because I don't want him to confirm or deny my allegations that Jeff Jarrett's purchased the World Championship Wrestling license. Sorry, Comrade Thompson, he is simply giving it to Double J and Eric Bischoff, obviously. Apologies for any confusion.
I like how Joel Pearl, who I don't think has ever watched a basketball game, is the basketball scoopster in the chat here.
Yeah, the Miami thing was... I mean, that was the most obvious tampering ever, but fuck it.
Yeah. Who cares? I hope they get knocked like the Bucks did with Bogdanovich.
Pat Riley would shoot someone. He would actually assassinate someone. And it would fucking rule. Imagine that being a news story. Like, you just wake up one day, ESPN, Pat Riley murders someone at the NBA headquarters. Okay. Should we talk about Homecoming?
No. Why?
Sorry to hear that.
I didn't even list it in the headline. I was just
I'm sorry. Oh, that's brutal, bro. Come on.
I was just hoping
Why are you
that
hating? Why are you hating on Impact Wrestling and the Machine Gun, Carl Anderson?
It was a great show. It was a great show, Joseph. Really enjoyed it. What else do you want me to say about it?
It was actually good, dude.
All right, there you go. Great review.
Hang on a second. Jensen's messaged me. I'm live on the air. I'm live.
Yeah, he said he wanted to come on.
My God. I'm gonna see if he's available so we can review Homecoming.
And I get it. You
Jensen
guys are
definitely watched
trolls.
Homecoming,
That's
right?
your whole
My
gimmick.
God,
Chocolate
chocolate chocolate gifting out the subs. Shooter Mike, Jamarket, J Mark Hart. It would be helpful if these names weren't like broken up stupidly. Okay, J Mark Arts, Cap 107, Brian Rose. Why does he get a gifted sub? He should pay. And Elijah Brody all got the gifted sub from the great man Chocolate Chocolate. If you're here, if you're in the chat, make sure to say thank you. It's great, man. Butler is signing the max with the Heat as well.
Sorry to hear that.
How good are
Good
they
luck.
next year with Lowry,
Well, they'll
Butler,
be good.
and Bam? That's a good team.
Damn good, yeah. Yeah, and, obviously, how old is Lowry now?
Like 34.
Yeah, he's got some years left. He's got some juice. So
At least 34, maybe older.
I've messaged Jensen to see if
35,
he's
there
watched.
you go.
Yeah. Yeah, he got a couple more years probably.
Yeah.
There'll be a contender, right?
Yeah.
The thing about it, the last few years of that deal were going to just be like, you just got to accept it is what that's how the NBA works, right? Like you just, he's just it's going to be long when he's 35 and you're paying him 50 million. It's not ideal, but that's the way it works.
I mean, they're a top 4 team. Like the Nets are still going to be good. The Bucks are still going to be good. I don't know what the Sixers are doing.
What do I? I think there's something up his sleeve, though, don't you, Maury? It's always saying he's not like Jeff Jarrett. In fact, it's always something going on with him,
I hope so. I hope you're right, Joseph. Do you think
I don't
gut
Who
feeling?
cares?
Do you
It's
think?
a fake game? Who gives a shit about the NBA anyway?
Do you think? You think Simmons gets dealt?
I honestly think Jeff Jarrett trades for him, and he runs him as a big man heel. Like I think that's the play here. Do we have Jensen's like Skype gimmick?
Yeah, I have it.
Can you call Jensen?
No.
Tremendous. Okay, hang on, guys. We're bringing Jensen on here. He's going to come on, I think, talk about Homecoming. Probably not. Jeremy doesn't want to talk about it. He hates Impact Wrestling because the Machine Gun, Carl Anderson. But nonetheless, let's add the pal. I've got to get him back on Patreon. Have you seen this new thing I do, Jeremy, where I use people's star power to get over our Patreon?
Yeah,
Tremendous,
I've
Rick.
noticed that.
Tremendous, Rick.
Because we have cool graphics on the Skype, Sean Rossap. See, we can tell everybody here to watch our friggin' show on Thursdays.
Okay. He should be coming through here, folks.
I feel like you've messed things up here, Joseph.
I said call him. Listen, I try my best. When I call people, my whole thing gets messed up for a moment. It's fine. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, is Jensen here? Oh my goodness, the shades. He's got the VP Dub show on, folks. This is an exciting
Oh
visual.
man, I gotta put him on screen now. Hold on, he's not on
You
screen.
do. You have to put him on screen. He's
I
just
am.
Jensen. Come
Hold on,
man.
it's gonna echo. My God, there we go. Jensen, what's up?
What's up,
What a great
fellas?
man.
Yeah, let me. I want to pull the Twitch chat up so I can see what people are
Yeah.
saying
See,
here.
when they bury you, you can see it live, baby.
Yes. Yeah, man. How you guys doing?
We're good. Jeremy's trying to make me talk about the NBA, which I don't.
Apparently, I've got to talk about Impact Homecoming, so I'm horrible.
Dude, we love wrestling, Jensen. Like, this is what we do. You want us to talk about the NBA?
Yeah,
this is not just a wrestling
that's
channel,
interesting.
Jeremy. This is a wrestling channel. I think we're going to just should we review it or should we just talk very broadly about it and then we can have more fun? What would you rather do, Jensen? Should we go match by match or should we just pop ourselves and just talk in grand term?
Alec Burks to the New York Knicks.
Good stuff.
I don't know who these people are, man.
Yeah, that was definitely worth shouting over the top of Jensen's first line of the podcast.
Yeah. Thanks for having. Appreciate that, guys. No, okay, I should be good. I should be set up now. You guys got the shirt in the shot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you look great.
Good. Wanted to make sure to put you guys over to the best of my abilities here.
That promotion doesn't exist anymore. We blew it up.
Well, and the shirt was free. I mean, let's get real here. So, but I do appreciate the free T-shirt for winning one of these contests from you guys. So, thanks for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I watched the majority of Homecoming. I actually, I attended a funeral on Saturday.
Oh.
So I was gonna do the post show for Denise. Like I was gonna fill in for Denise, and then Joel wound up filling in for me. So he had it covered. I saw his review was really good though. So I'm glad he was able to do that. But I caught most of the show. I got a very good I have all the I read all the spoilers before the show even happened. You know what I mean? So.
Oh, you're so far ahead of the game.
That's why I didn't watch. I was like, well, I know who's gonna win. Who cares?
I do it for the weekender too. It's like part of the show. Like if there's like a big set of spoilers in, I'll just read all the spoilers out on the podcast for everybody. So
this is where I'm built different. I watched this show today with no idea who won any of it. No clue. No idea. Just watched it. It happened 2 days ago. No one spoiled
anything
it.
I can read that's a spoiler, I will, and then I can get the article done before it happens. Like,
Okay.
that's the way to do it. Who cares about actually watching wrestling?
well, if it's something I actually like that I like Impact. I want to backtrack that. I do enjoy Impact, but when it comes to like GCW, for instance, if somebody knows like so and so is gonna like debut at GCW, like I will avoid that at all costs because like I want to watch the show live. I don't want the spoilers. So I definitely see the if you're looking for like the entertainment value out of it, definitely avoid the spoilers. But for me, it's I wind up spoiling a lot of stuff for myself because of the Weekender podcast. But I literally will read out the spoilers as I'm learning them. So it's like I don't read it ahead of time. I just like pull it up and just start reading about it into a microphone. And half the time I'm like, why the fuck would they do that? Okay, well that's okay. I guess that's happening in a couple weeks on this show. But yeah, outside of that, man, we had a lot of good stuff this weekend too, y'all. Like indie wrestling, just gonna throw it out there. VSX, AAW, and GCW all on Fight, and you got SCI tournament on IWTV, and you got IWTV 100 on IWTV. A lot of great stuff for all you wrestling fans that are always complaining about the
this
WWE.
weekend coming up?
Yeah, that's all this Saturday, and the SCI is on Friday and Saturday. IWTV 100 is on Sunday, and then GCW, AAW, and VSX are all on Saturday, and UFC 265 will be doing the watch along for that on Saturday night as well. So
who the fuck is on this UFC card, Jensen?
It's Gone versus Lewis for the interim heavyweight championship.
Oh,
Sorry to hear that.
I'm
I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna actually reach out to you, Jensen, not for free codes because I want to talk about the show with someone. But I'm gonna watch the AAW show definitely because Kingston's working that, right?
He is, yes. That's actually the only of those three I haven't asked for codes for. But if you'd like to watch the show, I might be able to help you out with that.
No, I'm actually gonna buy that with my real money. I just need someone to talk to about it because my friends are dipshits and I watch real wrestling, right, guys?
Yeah.
Look at this show. Well, SmackDown's on the night before. Fuck, get out of here. Jensen and I are gonna have fun in the DMs. But anyway, moving forward, I want to say this much, okay? Homecoming, genuinely, the reason I wanted to cover this show, even if only briefly, this is the stuff I used to say the network should do, which is basically wrestling that operates in a vacuum. Most of it isn't like really storyline. It's just like weird shit that you do on your streaming service. So this month, obviously, they had Slammiversary, which isn't on Impact Plus. It's on pay-per-view, right? So you get yourself a monthly. Yeah, you get yourself a monthly special that operates in its own sort of world. But it's watching wrestlers you enjoy do fun stuff in a relaxed environment. So that's the reason I want to talk about it, because I think the network should have done stuff like this as a concept, right? it's a pretty fun one, right, gents? Like, it's a neat little thing. It isn't something that's groundbreaking, but like, it's just something different, basically.
But just the whole idea of like Impact and running on
the
the
homecoming.
whole idea of Impact is just different.
The whole no, that's awful. The homecoming tournament.
Right. Oh, the actual tournament itself. I mean, yeah, it's my thing is like just providing alternatives, right? Like, and that's a true. It's a standalone show as well. Like, it's nothing that really is gonna, have any kind of impact on like long-term stories or impact really anything that has to do with Slammiversary. It's just like if you want to watch a solid. It's also a tournament, right? So like you get to see it from start to finish on one show, which I always like as well. So yeah, I'm with you on that 100%. Like, specialty shows I'm fine with. I think that's why you have such a big demand for stuff like King of the Ring. Everyone wants that to come back for like the same type of reasons. They're just kind of standalone shows that, that could have implications long term potentially. But then of course you got like I don't know what they called him on the show, but Aiden English, like, and he's immediately now like spotlighted as somebody that matters in the company immediately just off of one show. You know what I mean? So they accomplished some stuff with it as well.
No, it was actually a good show. I will say Impact has been transformed by the return of fans. Like, it is actually a game changer for them. Like, it's not a lot of people, but it's so much different to have people reacting to the stuff they're doing.
Yeah.
The last couple of weeks of Impact TV, I just caught up on. And, it's just a different vibe, right? Because Arian comes out and the people pop, and it's better than just everyone sitting there. It's like, there's no one there. There's a couple of production guys. It's just better.
Yeah, I think that turns some fans off too. Like, I know people specifically that just weren't watching Impact without fans there, just because it was too, for lack of a better term, it was just kind of cringe to watch for some people. But yeah, man, it adds so much to it, and that also especially for what was the most recent Impact pay-per-view? Slammiversary was the most recent. That's right. What's the upcoming? I keep getting it screwed up because I know Resurgence is coming up too in like a week, but that's technically New Japan. It throws me off, some of this Forbidden Door stuff.
Emergency is coming up. I think that's going to be in August or September. That's an Impact Plus show. But the next big Impact show is Bound for Glory in October.
Right. And I always screw up Slammiversary and Bound for Glory. I always screw those two pay-per-views up. But yeah,
guys, we got to talk about Impact Homecoming. Don't post that Kelly Olynyk's going to the Pistons and stuff. Impact Homecoming is way more important.
You said that like Kelly Olynyk was actually important to any of us, but neither of these things were important. I know why we. But anyway, I will say, guys, quick kind of just for those that didn't see it, the one match. If you only have time for one match. Josh Alexander, which it's been the case a lot, right? Josh is, he's kind of become the like reliable best match man. Him and Black Taurus, they had an absolute killer match. I know I'm very unfamiliar with the Black Taurus, but I know that a lot of people that are familiar were like, "What are they doing with him?" So this match intrigued me because you're going to see what he can do. I get it now. I understand why people were confused at him being like fourth Decay man. This match ruled, man. I don't know how much you saw this, Jensen, but this was tremendous.
Yeah, the thing with Black Taurus, or however Denise tried to really enunciate it one time on one of her shows. Black Taurus. The only problem with he's a fantastic worker. Like, his actual in-ring ability is like as good as anybody. There's just a clear ceiling to a gimmick like that. Like, you're only going to go so far wearing a bull's head on your a mask thing on your head. I mean, I just don't think that the guy's ever going to be like the world champion of a company specifically because of that. But he's really great in the ring. Like, his matches are always solid. And Josh Alexander, for my money, is one of my favorite guys in the world right now, in any company. I mean, he's can't miss right now. People say what they will about TJP and whatnot, but that Iron Man match the two of them had was one of the best matches in the last, 6 months or whatever. He very well could be the guy to beat Kenny Omega if he uses option C to cash in the X Division title. I could see him maybe being the one to finally beat Kenny for that Impact title. So it wasn't surprising to see the praise I got, or the praise the match got rather, because I saw people on Twitter saying that too, that they really enjoyed that Black Taurus and Josh Alexander match.
There's a great it's a thing that I think is actually underused in wrestling, like the playbook of just babyface champ that just wants to have great matches, right? And he wants to. Now, in storyline, the idea is obviously he's defending the belt. He's been a fighting champ, but like his role in this product is he has the best match on every show he wrestles on. That's the point of what Josh Alexander and he's doing it, man. Like this one, there was some moments here. Like obviously these guys can do a whole range of stuff, but they kind of established this idea that like when they throw strikes, Josh was just getting the shit kicked out of him, right? Like he would be like, you know, he'd be out on his feet. And in fairness, I criticised him a lot. Striker and D'Lo were good in that regard. It was very, very good. I would say, looking here briefly at the card, because again I don't want to upset anyone that wants to talk Kelly Olynyk, but looking at Morrissey and Edwards, if you can get past the fact that you knew it was going to be that kind of match, right, like a kind of plunder brawl, they made the most of it. Dude, Eddie Edwards has still got his fastball, man. He still is valuable once the bell rings, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing ever been. Eddie Edwards he's an interesting case because he seems stagnant, but like it's not like he's ever declined in the ring. Like his in-ring work is always fine, but there's some disconnect, and I talk about it a lot, and so do a lot of others. There's still this weird disconnect, I think, with him and the fans, with the whole Tommy Dreamer 2.0 type thing he's still doing, like the heart and soul of Impact Wrestling. And I think he just needs a more interesting gimmick. Like honestly, at the end of the day. Now, if
Tommy
they
Dreamer cosplay isn't interesting to you,
yeah, exactly. That is correct. Like I think that if they can get Davey Richards for something with him, like just something to like light a fire under his ass on TV in some way, like they just got to figure out, because no matter what, Eddie Edwards is always going to be one of their top guys. Like no matter what position he's in, he could be losing, and then it's going to be like, we need a title challenger. Boom, we got Eddie Edwards. Like he's always very similar to Sami Callihan. They're in a very similar boat with Impact Wrestling. But the flip side of all this though is I hate seeing Morrissey lose, but I also have a feeling he's not going to be with Impact much longer. So they need to do something with getting, like, they put so much heat on Morrissey that they got to do something with it if he's going to leave. So,
was that a scoop, Jensen, or are you just guessing?
No, his
that's just a
contract's
guess.
up.
Yeah,
Morrissey's contract is up after Bound for Glory.
How long did he sign for?
He initially just signed like a week-to-week kind of deal, and then they signed him through Bound for Glory because they thought it was.
Well, where's he gonna go? Where's he going?
AEW, obviously.
I would, dude. I'd take that too. I think there's money in Morrissey, like a healthy Morrissey. That dude is. You don't like Morrissey in Impact?
I like him in Impact. I don't know about this, man. I don't know.
Going back to the
We need him in the
baby.
That's fine, but like he's got there's some issues with that I'll not get into on stream. But I think he's got something. He can talk, and he's this great big guy. Obviously, he's physically impressive, but the Fleet. Dude, AEW's got some. They got some killers on there, man. It's a different game.
He's going to AEW.
Yeah, I'm just saying I wouldn't mind it if he did.
Yeah,
I trust me, y'all. Like I got to catch most of your AEW conversation on here earlier, and I echo exactly what you guys said is where my head's at with like all this stuff. Like I've been saying it since day one because I've been one of those disgruntled WWE fans that was like looking for a legitimate alternative ever since WCW went out of business. Like I was real into TNA at first because I thought maybe that was going to be it, and then there was like 20 years of waiting until we got AEW. So I've been an early adopter of AEW, but like right now, like dude, with all the stuff they got going on, it's easily the hottest professional wrestling company in the world right now, like from like a buzz standpoint, right?
Yes.
So you have to be careful about who you're going to continue to bring in and what kind of stigma that might bring with it. You don't want to be labeled as like you're going to take every WWE wrestler that gets released or anyone with a name that gets released. You're just going to bring over. So I'm totally with y'all there with all that stuff. But Morrissey just might be a different case just because like you just don't come across guys that are his size and that athletic. Like you get like your Omos level guys that like could maybe be something, but like Morrissey moves around so much better than he does. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I feel like you could do a lot with him potentially in AEW. And AEW's average height is going to be on the smaller side as well, and he's going to look like a giant in comparison to so many of those guys. But
There's
just
some
don't
JJ
folks in the
says.
chat. Go ahead, Joe.
JJ says more seats to the NWA. That I think JJ might be having fun there. They could honestly use a guy like him.
He wants to get paid though.
Right up the
Some
middle.
people said
Plenty
New
of money.
Japan. I think New Japan is actually like they could definitely look at him and be like, that's money, you know,
Yeah.
crazy American man, big
like
tall,
that.
muscular guy. Yeah, that actually seems the most likely to me, genuinely, if he's leaving. But then he could still do stuff with Impact. So, yeah, that's interesting. As far as the mixed tags, or I guess is that what they're called? What are they called? Because they're intergender, right? You
They're
can do
king and
Yeah.
queen, Joseph. That's
no,
what
but
they're just
mixed tag is when you have to tag out immediately when the guy comes in or the gal comes in, right?
Who
What do we call this?
Cares.
You're being really mean, Jeremy. You know how many people at Impact watch these things. This not be nice. Come on.
Just
don't
call him
have the
mixed
machine
tag. Just call him mixed tag. It's fine.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
sorry
fine.
to hear that.
Mixed
Okay,
tag.
well, listen, Deonna Purrazzo's great. I was happy for the Drama King, who went by his real name that I apologise that I completely forgot. But there you go. He was there. He looked good, right? He looked exactly as I recalled him looking. Very tall, skinny man with a bald head. Good job. He's good though. Seriously, I'm happy for him that he landed here. Can I just say, Matt Striker, I know you're watching. He comes out and cuts a promo, dude, and Striker goes, definitely does not need an aid in English. And I was like, I'm done. I'm out. Like this is 5 minutes into the show, dude. I was like, that's enough. I'm done. I'm not putting up with this. I had to walk around here. Just chill, bro. I know that was his name. You know. I know you think this is hilarious, Matt, but he isn't that clever to me. But one other thing, and I can throw this to you in a second, gents, but before I forget, Willie Mack and Dina, like, I don't know if I imagined this match, but like, this was outrageous. I have no idea how this match proved to be so good. Dude, watch this match. It was tremendous. I mean, I think the world of Willie Mack, but I didn't think he was going to have a banger with Dina on Impact Specials. He did, so there's that. But anyway, any thoughts on the rest of this stuff, the intergender tags, the Willie Mack, any of that stuff, Jensen? Anything else to say?
Not real. I mean, honestly, I need to go back and watch the Willie Mack and Diener match. I like Diener. You know, like him with the whole him and cousin Jake something and all that. Like, I wasn't so into that, but I could tell there was some talent there. But I think he really turned the corner when like they shaved his head and he had like the buy-in for like the whole Bound by Design and all that. I think he's done pretty solid. But Willie Mack's one of my favorite guys in the company and has been for years. And he's another one of those where, like, I mean, outside of Impact, like, I remember how good he was in Lucha Underground, for instance, or even like PWG and stuff. Like, it was like the talent's there. They don't really have anyone else like him that looks like him, that moves the way he does, that has like an aerial assault, but also power moves. Like, he's very diverse in like everything he can do, and very charismatic, very likable guy. But he's another one of those guys where I'm like, are they not pushing him because he's out? Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, because I don't know why else he'd be so in kind of the background for so long. Mm-hmm. So, but it doesn't surprise me to hear that him and Diener had a good match, though. I need to check that out. I'm a fan of both guys for sure.
The Willie Mack thing's interesting because I remember a year ago when he dropped the title to Bay, the X Division title. And then the next TV, they run it back and he beat him again flat. And it was like, I guess Willie's leaving the territory. It's been a year of that. Like, it's just, really, it feels like he should be way higher on the card. But they see him one way, I guess. By the way, also, another Strikerism. Dina does this move in this match, right? And Striker goes, he actually came up to me earlier to tell me the name of this move, but I was so scared that I forgot it as I ran away. Why? What are you talking? Why? Why does he do this stuff, Jensen? He's not a bad announcer. He just has this, and he can't help himself. He has to say this weird shit.
You're talking about Striker, right?
Oh yes.
Okay,
I wanted, bless his heart.
Yeah, I thought, yeah. Striker. He does some weird stuff too. Like, he was like the. I can't remember which. It was definitely one of the freak fights. It was one of the celebrity boxing matches. He was like the interviewer in the ring the other week. It was like, Matt Striker's doing like celebrity boxing now. Like, what the hell? But yeah, imagine that playing out in real life too, Joseph. Like, imagine like someone like you saw a grown man running away because of the name of a move. You know, like what?
Yeah. He had a couple. There was one other one. I'm trying to think of what he. Like the Decay were doing this bit where they were like biting everyone's arms and shit. And Striker goes, man, the beauty of our sport, right? And I was just like, dude, like, what is going on with you? I know he was joking, but at some point, it's like, you can only be so wink-wink. But anyway, enough of poor Matt. This was a very good show. Crowds have transformed this product for me. Dude, let me say one other thing. And I know where you're at on this guy, Jensen, because on Twitter, he's very divisive.
Okay. Jay
Wyatt on Impact Television came across like a megastar. Like, he transitioned to US TV in a way that I just didn't. I knew he could do it eventually, but he did it on day one. Where are you at on him, like, ceiling wise? He's got to be one of the first draft picks at this point, right? He's incredible.
I agree.
Oh yeah. He carries himself like a star. He looks like a star. He talks like a star. He actually, I heard y'all talking earlier about Adam Cole, and like the few of them are very similar in my opinion. And from those senses, they both come across like stars. They have a lot of charisma. They're both very good in the ring. But I could also see where like some people might be like, I like this guy, but like I'm not sure exactly why he's seen in like the highest regard. You know, like, but if you saw certain stuff of his, you would change your mind. You know, it really depends on how much of Jay White you've seen and how much of Adam Cole you've seen. Jay White, I mean, he could be huge. The other thing with him is like he's completely unknown to like the U.S. mainstream market.
Yeah,
like that's pretty rare nowadays to like, because he's done so well for himself in Japan and elsewhere, but it's like in the U.S., like you've never seen him as a WWE guy, you've never seen him as an AEW guy. You'd really just be seeing him at first in Impact, really. So there's a lot of potential there, and then of course all the crossover potential with all the other companies right now. But I really, to your point though, like he's a top level draft pick type guy, and he's still young too. I mean, he's like not even in his prime yet, probably technically. So huge fan.
Oh, I actually did agree with you on like Jay White being great. I had no idea who you're talking about since I just came back, but I'm a fan of the Jay White.
Absolutely. So I want to see where Jensen's on this, because as you saw, you watched some of this awful show and you saw what we were talking about. So you're a member of the All Elite Fleet, right? You're a fan.
Yeah, massive fan, yes.
Give me your, like, rank the three guys that we were talking about today as far as acquisitions for AEW. Like, in terms of your excitement, I would like you to rank, yes, this is a real question, Adam Cole, The Fiend Bray Wyatt, and the Nature Boy Ric Flair.
Can't be the Fiend. You can't be the Fiend.
Sorry, the non-Fiend Bray Wyatt.
Don't
and
get
the
us
Nature Boy
sued.
Ric Flair.
Don't get us.
Wait,
those three in terms of your excitement for them getting the All Elite graphic at some point.
Oh, okay. Oh man, people are gonna roast Ric Flair probably.
Same.
Like, no, but if I'm being totally honest, like there's Adam Cole. You said Adam Cole, The Fiend, and Ric Flair.
Yeah.
You gotta say Adam Cole. Because he would have a whole another career there as a wrestler. Though as a giant WCW mark, seeing Ric Flair on TNT with other horsemen, like that's in Sting, and that's the draw for me. And potentially him with Andrade, or and I heard you talking about earlier. If they ever get Charlotte, that's like a legitimate game changer. Like that would be massive. So I think Flair going there, helps out the company to some degree. But no, like of those three, easily Adam Cole. Like my real answer, like that is. There's just too many. There's too many possibilities. There's too much history with the guys that are already there. Britt's there, obviously. Like it's just. You can have years of greatness there in AEW, in my opinion.
That question was a complete trap, because I knew that your heart was the same as mine, and it was Ric Flair, and I wanted to see if you had the courage to give me your honest reaction, which indeed was, yes, I would like to see Ric Flair on TNT.
Joseph,
good answer.
Joseph.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sixers legend TJ McConnell, 4 years with the Pacers.
Good for TJ, man. Got himself paid, got himself a 4-year deal. He was great last year. How much money, Jeremy?
$35.2 million.
Damn, good job. Is there anything else you want to talk about in the world of professional wrestling, guys? Because I mean, we've got through Homecoming now, Jeremy. You'll be glad to know.
It was a great show. Loved it. Glad Deanna and Drama King Matt won the King and Queen. Well deserved on their part. Josh Alexander rules.
How excited are you, Jensen, for Jeff Jarrett's wrestling promotion?
Oh, I caught a little bit of y'all saying this before I jumped on. I didn't know what you were talking about, Joseph, but I mean, if Jeff Jarrett like wound up as the owner of the National Wrestling Alliance, or what you said, somebody mentioning like if they somehow bought the IP to WCW or something, like Conrad bought the IP, like that's so. The funny thing about that though is like Conrad has the type of relationship with WWE in a way that like no one else does, where they're co-purchasing like people's memorabilia for the Hall of Fame and stuff. Like they share merchandise. Like if anyone could possibly buy a license, I'm just saying it would be Conrad Thompson. But dude, I love Jeff Jarrett. He's honestly one of the nicest guys I've like ever met in wrestling. Like I met him outside the Nashville Fairgrounds a couple of years ago, and he saw that I was looking over at him, and he waved over at me, and I was like, oh sweet, like he's been first giving me the heads up to like I just go over and talk to him. No one else was around, and I wound up talking to him for a minute, and he's like, yeah, man, like you want a picture, autograph, anything? I was just like, yeah, like sure. Like usually you have to ask them, and he's like, yeah, you want a picture? And I'm like, of course I do, Jeff. Like, yeah.
He was like, do you want to push in GFW?
Yeah. These gold bars.
Yeah. But yeah, I'd love to see Jeff Jarrett back in the back running a company or helping run a company. I actually read a book years ago by this author, Brennan Martin, I believe was his name. And he's the like nephew of Jeff Jarrett, and the whole book is about Christine Jarrett, Teeny, his grandmother, who like taught Jerry Jarrett the ways of the wrestling business. And then, so that family, and for all the Jim Cornette haters out there, I totally get it. But like when you read books like this, it almost makes you feel really bad for Jim Cornette, because you read all these stories about him as a child, just how much he loved wrestling and how much he was taking pictures for the wrestlers and like. A little Jimmy Cornette, and now he's just this like bitter jerk on the internet, But
it's sad, man. It doesn't have to be that way. It's such a shame.
I know, but anyway, that's a long way of saying like I'm a fan of the Jarrett family. I like Jeff a lot, and I would. The more the merrier right now at the Forbidden Door, dude. Like I don't care what company you are, if you can bring good shows, you got a chance to be a part of this.
So I want to get into that a little bit. Just to the chat, I didn't bring up PWG just because like. I couldn't see any of it, right? Like
living vicariously through
Denise. It's cool. It's cool that
it's cool. Yeah, it's just all of it's awesome, but like we didn't see it. I guess was the reason.
Yeah.
But, anyway, go ahead.
Like PWG, bless them. They're still like they still have that indie feel of like anything can happen because they don't they're not on a streaming service or anything, so they don't need to get rights to a lot of these guys like some indies do. And Malachi showing up, it's cool. They can use the ROH guys and whatnot. Like they bless them, bless how they want to do business. I don't know if that's the best way to go in 2021, but they get people like because they're the only promotion that like still does that. Like they still get a lot of buzz around that shit, right? Like they get more buzz than most of these indies do. Like pretty much every other indie outside of GCW because they still do things this way.
Dude, forget indies. They get more buzz than like national promotions, right? I mean, I don't even name them. Yeah, well, yeah, okay, you can name them.
I was about to say like that's the one we all thought of, but you just went ahead and said out loud.
Yeah, that's fine. Proud Mongroven, I've not seen the MLW show yet. I am actually going to catch up on this week. But before we got about 20 minutes of Royal Elevation, which I'm actually going to watch. So we've got 20 minutes of time. I want to throw this to both of you guys. Either one of you can take it first. But if Jeff Jarrett called us and said, listen, I've convinced another dipshit to give me their money. I'm getting into wrestling. Unfortunately, I haven't watched it in years. What do we do? What is the plan, guys? Jeremy, Jensen, have you got any... How do we attack this? Because right now, with WWE and AEW, there is legitimately about 15 hours of weekly content. This is an interesting time, right? As much as we all love more wrestling, there's only so many days in the week. What's the play here, guys? Jeremy, Jensen, any ideas?
You go first, Jeremy. I got a couple ideas, I guess.
All right, here's what I'm doing. Joseph. First show, the non-fiend against Nick fucking Gage. That's what I'm headlining with, baby.
That's fair. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. That's strong. I agree with that. I'm with all of that.
Everybody's amazing. Coming in for that one, right? We're appealing to all the audiences with that one match.
Great start. Ensign, your response,
Yeah, that would
your
be-
additions.
That'd be wild, especially if they like totally WWE the whole thing and like the Fiend disappeared during the next game. Nick Cage looking around for him. Where'd he go? I don't know. I mean, there's so I guess distribution wise, right? Like, where would you watch this show? I think you'd have to have it for free. It'd have to be on YouTube, or it'd have to be on Fight TV for like some either cheap price or free. It's got to be some sort of internet-based streaming service. You would
I'm
think.
getting a cable deal. I'm charging $50 for Nick Gage against Bray Wyatt. Are you kidding me? This is bigger than a Connor
This is the
fight.
thing. Is there another cable deal out there? That's the thing. Like, genuinely, it feels kind of unlikely, right?
I don't know. It also depends on what kind of product you're going to put out there. Because, like, Vice with MLW was kind of surprising with me, like, to see that. But, like, you know, it depends on, it just got to be a good fit for everybody. Like, and that's the other thing, too. Like, are they able to use contracted talent on their shows, or do they have to be strictly independent talent, or do they have to sign contracts with this company? Because that's going to determine
if thinking
who's...
like logical and asking questions
Hang on,
and stuff.
I'll be fair, Jim. This floods stats a bit. So I'm saying this is a scenario where they have the financial backing, they want to like compete and get in the game, right? Like, now, obviously, if we were just doing like a Lunatics indie promotion, Nick Gage and The Fiend would be the greatest main event ever.
Yeah,
Like,
we can all agree on that.
Yes, but like, what is the play here if you're trying to actually enter this game? Because let's be frank, I think Impact are on the outskirts and they're watching on. The other promotions, for all of their efforts, are. I mean, I think irrelevance not fair, but like, you know, it is what it is, right? It's going to be an AEW. We don't have to lie about it. If you want to become the third to AEW and WWE, how does one do that? Is it possible?
I think it's possible, but you also have to look at like the small buzz that Ring of Honor has and the small buzz that like MLW kind of has, or like, because like in comparison to those other companies, they really, I mean, those are companies I love and I support, but I honestly feel like GCW has more more buzz right now about it than like MLW or Ring of Honor. They're almost like the third almost with like almost WCW, WWF, and ECW with GCW kind of coming up. But so to try to kind of interrupt that, really the only way to do it would be to get big stars. I mean, I don't know how else. You could put on good wrestling shows with the guys that are like available, but you'd have to somehow get people to really want to watch your show, or you'd have to co-promote like crazy Forbidden Door style and like, you know, do these like, and NWA is not the best example because they also don't have a lot of buzz, but like NWA, like the NWA champions defend their titles on other shows fairly often. Yeah. You know what I mean? So like it'd have to be that kind of thing where like maybe it's the Jeff Jarrett show that he's running, but like the Ring of Honor world title was on the line, like the NWA title's on the line. Like it'd have to be something, or you'd have to wind up getting just a giant star. Like somebody massive would have to either jump ship or be available, because I don't know how else you can. You have to fight a battle going through all these other companies up to that spot that are already kind of like having a hard time themselves. You know what I mean?
It feels like stylistically, and now look, I'm not trying to go full Billy Corgan here, but like it does feel like you need to do some kind of like grounded, not throwback, but like traditional wrestling company. Because frankly, at this point in the game, like what can you can't just be a worse version of AEW, right? They do the wrestling buffet, like they do everything. You're gonna have to like pick a lane. Now, granted, as to your point, Ring of Honor has already done that really with the pure stuff, and like I love the pure stuff. I love John Gresham. They're so far underground. So yeah, and that's the other problem, right? Is like you talk about getting a big name, talent-wise, dude. Like everyone's got a contract now. You and I are probably signed by Colt Bauer somewhere. I don't know. I haven't looked at the books, but it's hard. I think Jeff's gonna pop us all with his bullshit. But like, as far as making another actual like viable national promotion, seems tough, man. I don't know.
It does. Is there like a lot of steam behind that? Like, where is this coming from with like your thought?
Absolutely none. Basically, there's two things. I've put these together as everyone should. I don't know if you saw, but in Raj's report about Adam Cole, he was like, he has a lot of options. You know, WWE, AEW, as well as promotions that don't even exist yet. And everyone was like,
oh, okay.
And then Double J I mean, he's doing a Patreon Q&A and someone goes, "Are you going to get back into wrestling?" And he just smiled, and Conrad was like, "Next question." Oh, it's coming, baby. They've bought WCW. I'm telling you, they've bought it. It's coming back.
Oh my god. That would be so wild. And I'd be here for it. Like, I'd definitely be a WCW fan. It wouldn't matter what they put on the show. I'd still watch it. Like, I'm brand loyal. I was watching WCW 2000, just with the ship as it was sinking. So
Here's the play. Okay, I'm going to do this now. I'm going to be serious. The play is that they acquire WCW and take it to Tony Khan, and he's like, "I can't run on Mondays, but you guys can. TNT Monday Nitro." Okay? So next year you would have on the Turner networks, TNT would run Nitro on Mondays and like, fuck, I don't know, Thunder Saturday night or some shit. TBS has Dynamite and Rampage. And you just do the obvious thing, right? You go, Cody Rhodes, go do it, man. Go run that thing. Just take all of your guys that you want to have in your own little world. That's WCW now. You know, you send like maybe, I don't know, there's some guys in AEW that probably could like benefit from that anyway. And you run wild, man. You try and make it Fed dead. You try and kill them.
dude, I am so here for all of that. Like, especially the Cody Rhodes part.
Yes.
Getting real excited over here thinking about all this, guys. Yeah, it's like WCW is like Cody, Jericho, Ultimo Dragon, Juventud Guerrero. It's like all the original WCW guys.
Yes.
And they still pop a better rating than Raw. Oh,
Imagine.
But no, I know what you're saying though. That would be, obviously that's like a 1 in a billion chance. But hey, I never thought that in my lifetime I would be seeing an alternative to the WWE. Like, AEW is such a year before it happened. Even, I mean, basically once All In happened, people started like thinking like, oh my god, they might actually be able to do something like this. But up until that point, it was so like I just accepted that wrestling was just going to be the way that it was from then on out, as just sports entertainment. And I'd have to be really like fringe underground fan to like watch like indies and stuff. Like, but mainly it was just going to be all about WWE. And eventually all the people I liked were just going to sign with the WWE. And then it was just a coin toss of whether Vince liked them or not. But man, wouldn't that be wild if we got WCW again? I always see that lame ass Twitter account always gets like restarted, like the WCW 2022 or whatever. It's like, dude, give it up, man. Like, everyone knows you're not bringing back WCW.
This is the thing, is like, I am like 90% joking, but like in my heart, I think I am convinced saying this crazy will happen. Not the Turner part, that's all fun and games, but like, I am certain that some dipshit is actually going to buy that license because Nick Khan's giving like 3 letters, who gives a shit? Take it, you know?
Well, and the thing you also have to keep in mind, Joe, is when you say that, right? You're like, I've got, it's like 90% bullshit, 10% like I really hope this happens. That was us with Sting and Darby Allin being a thing. That was us. That was us with like, I mean, you can really say a lot about what AEW is doing. Like, all these things that were like, Kenny Omega, like, going to other companies, like, there's no way he's actually going to win the title in these other companies, right? Like, he goes and does it. Like, there's so many instances of, like, me as a fan just sitting there going, there's no way they're going to actually do this, but I'd mark out if they did. And then, like, they do that on TV. Like, Juventud Guerrera is going to wrestle Chris Jericho on TNT next week, or like, tomorrow, or 2 days from now. Like, what? Like, I was joking when I was like, yeah, hopefully it's Ultimo Dragon. But it's like, it's pretty much the same thing, pretty much. Like, they got Hoobie Juice. I mean, like, you kidding me? Like, this is what I live for as a wrestling fan, is these kind of things. So, I never say never with AEW. Like, Tony Khan is one of us, dude. Like, I can't stress it enough.
Yeah.
This is a guy that's around our age with unlimited money that gets to put his favorite wrestling on mainstream television. Like, so much of what AEW looks like right now is exactly what I would have done if I was him. You know, like, just keep doing what you're doing. Like, it's amazing.
Dude, it is so funny, the idea of like a Warner Wrestling like streaming service. They like, Turner has, they have like 15 hours of wrestling every week. Like, just every week, like, there's Nitro and all this. No, I agree with what he said. Like, all cylinders aside, it's What a time, dude. There's no more, every day there's more crazy news too. It just doesn't stop. It's insane.
The best. It's the best time to be a wrestling fan since like 1998. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like it's really like peak Monday Night Wars. I'm not saying that AEW is direct competition in the WWE in like every sense, right? Like I totally understand that the WWE is its own entertainment conglomerate. I totally get that. They're doing their own thing on their own island, and they're like you guys were saying earlier, like they don't care what you think as a fan. Like they want your money, but they know there's going to be a revolving generation of kids every X amount of years that like they're going to continue to be able to pump out the product they pump out to as a PG rated show for kids and very old people. That's their demographics. But if AEW can just keep doing what they're doing and just keep rounding up us, you know, professional wrestling fans that have been watching wrestling our whole lives that still like pro wrestling. Like I grew up on WCW, TBS, professional wrestling. Southern wrestling, like, and that's not all AEW is, but you still get some of that. WWE, they're not going to ever say the word wrestling. You know, it's two totally different things at this point. Either you like sports entertainment or you like professional wrestling. I like professional wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
It's that simple. You know what I mean? Like, just keep. It's exciting. It's an exciting time to be a fan because, like I said, 10 years ago, I thought this was impossible to be back into this kind of thought process with wrestling. But my God, dude, what a great time.
By the way, on that point about like WWE don't care, I ain't gonna get involved tonight when inevitably Chicago shits on this show, but like I am generally a believer in the notion that crowds should do what they want because crowds rule, obviously. I'm gonna be honest though, I'm just like not gonna watch the show. And like I'll just this is completely in contrast to anything I've ever said on this topic. I'm gonna be honest. I think if you like hijack it with Bray stuff, you're like you're not really helping anyone. You're just making it harder on the performers. Because like I'm gonna be real, man. Like, the Office does not give a shit about you doing that. All that happens is the wrestlers have to go out there and like get reminded their pal just lost his job. Like seriously. Now I know no one that's at Raw tonight is watching this show. I hope not. Anyway, get to the arena, goddammit. But like. I don't know, guys. Maybe they've broke my heart on this one, but I'm just like, you don't have to like try and crowbar them into doing wrestling you like anymore, because as Jensen just laid out, now more than ever, there's wrestling out there waiting for you. Like, don't keep going to the shows and being like, this sucks. Just stop going.
It's like reports of Triple H. I think Jeremy, I think you're the one who did the article for it. The whole Triple H is like really taking a look at how to get wrestling fans to watch WWE, and it's like, and then they go to like a music festival where no one gives a shit about pro wrestling, like, you know, and it's like I get the idea, right, of like trying to appeal to the mainstream. I totally understand that, but hey Paul Levesque, we're all right here. We're still watching wrestling. We're just not watching your show anymore. It's like if you had a 3-hour show every Monday. If you wrote even 1 hour of that to where it was geared some way, shape, or form towards me as a fan, I'd probably watch it. But you're not doing that. You're gearing everything towards children and their grandparents. It's just, and if you like that, that's totally fine. I say it all the time. Mighty Ducks Game Changers was my favorite show this entire year. It's a children's show. I'm not above children's programming at all. But I think Raw is objectively a bad television show. Not just within the realm of wrestling. It's just a bad television show. So now that being said, I might watch Raw tonight. And the reason being is because of this. And also, I think WWE's had an entire year to figure out good ways of muffling the crowd and planting whatever sound they want for whoever they want. So it'll be interesting to hear people live if they say, hey, we were booing the whole time, but on TV we're hearing cheers. Like, then that would be a very WWE thing to do. They're trying to control the narrative of how the crowd sounds on the shows, who they're cheering and who they're booing. So, yeah, man. I haven't watched Raw at all this year, aside from I watched the Raw after WrestleMania, and it was terrible. I watched the Raw that John Cena returned on to see John Cena. Then I saw him and Riddle in the ring doing their little bro thing, and I was like, this is probably where I need to tune out, because it probably won't get better than what I just saw. Like, that's probably the peak of the show. I just got to bounce now. But I'll watch tonight because I want to see if there's any kind of reaction to the Fiend thing, I guess, you know?
I just, like, look, I'm crackerjack said it here about the fans want to express their displeasure, and I sympathise, especially with Bray fans, because I think Bray fans are WWE fans, and it sucks their guy got cut. I'm not. Please make it clear here, I'm not taking the side of the billion-dollar corporation. Fuck the billion-dollar corporation. My point is, I would strongly suggest, like, in future, just not attending, because like I don't think they're going to change. All that's going to happen is like. The poor men and women that still have to do this shit and go out there and do these terrible segments, you're going to get Bray chants. And I'm just like, I don't think they care, but like, he isn't actually achieving anything, is it? I mean, it's been 10 years since the pipe bomb deal, and like CM Punk left 7 years ago. They chant CM Punk every time they're bored. Has it changed the product at all? Nope. It is what it is, man. I don't care.
Yeah, and it's like, I'm not trying to be a dick, but like seriously, if I was watching Raw, and like they pan to the crowd. Like, what I'm expecting to see is going to be, like, children and their parents, for the most part. But, like, if you're a big WWE fan, right, like, you should be proud of, like, the wrestlers that you're, like, a fan of, like, regardless of what age you are. So, if you, like, were a big John Cena fan, and you still are a John Cena fan, like, you're my age, I have no problem with that. Like, John Cena, it's like, it'd be like when I was a kid, then I saw Hogan later on, or if whenever The Rock pops in and out and stuff, like, I get that. But it to me, I just feel sorry for the guy my age standing there in a green Hustle to Loyalty Respect t-shirt with like his little armband on his head or whatever. And it's like, bro, you don't even realize how good it is outside of here, do you? Like you love wrestling still clearly, but like, bro, like if you're my age and you love wrestling enough to wear a full, what you would call in your part of the world, Joe, a full kit wanker. If you were, if you showed up looking like you're getting ready to be in the ring and you're my age, you probably love pro wrestling, and you don't even probably know that all this other wrestling is out of here because you're spending your time in the crowd on Raw wearing a John Cena t-shirt. Like,
yeah, so. I know, I agree. I mean, like the Powerline Crackerjack followed up, and they said they're right, and clearly 99% of the people there tonight bought their ticket before Bray got cut. Like, I get it, I'm aware. And I'm not saying like they're assholes for going. What I'm saying is, listen, our money really at this point it doesn't even make a difference because like they're rights deals is the whole thing, right? Like rights deals, Saudi Arabia don't even need our money. But like in future, I would suggest not giving it to them rather than like attending and giving them a sold out house and then being like, this show sucked. It sucked for 20 years, guys. It is what it is. But nonetheless, we got elevation, pal. We got to get David Crockett's on commentary tonight, right? Have you seen this?
Yeah, I did. I saw the throwback picture of all them together, 30 years ago, whatever, too. I loved it,
Tremendous.
Man.
Tremendous stuff.
Ming showed up last week. Like, let's go.
It was like 2 segments after Tanahashi. But anyway, Jensen, promote your stuff before we get out of here. Tell the people where they can see you and all that good stuff.
Yeah, follow me on Twitter at FightTalk_. If you want to watch some pro wrestling this weekend, independentwrestling.tv or IWTV.live. Use code FIGHTTALK, FIGHTTALK. It helps me out a lot when y'all use that code when you sign up for that service. And like I said earlier, you got Scenic City Invitational Tournament on Friday night and Saturday night. You got the Future Showcase on Saturday afternoon. And on Sunday, you have IWTV 100 with the 100th title defense of the IWTV Championship, Wheeler Yuta versus Daniel Garcia. So that's going to be really good. Also, if you want to watch more independent wrestling, I just want to stress it to everyone listening. There's a lot of good wrestling this weekend. Fight TV, you got Violence X Suffering on Saturday, you got AAW on Saturday, and you got GCW on Saturday. And if you want more of me, I'll be here on the YouTube channel for Fightful Saturday night, UFC 265, doing the watch along. That'll be for the co-main, which I believe is Jose Aldo versus Munoz, and then the main event, which is Derek Lewis and Surreal Gone. So I'll be doing that on youtube.com/Fightful this Saturday night. Thanks for having me on, you guys. Appreciate it.
It was tremendous. It was great to have you, Jensen. Jeremy? Take your time here, pal. You got anything to...
Joe Pearl would like to remind you that you're also doing the Impact watch along on Thursday.
Sorry to hear that.
Yes, that's in a couple days. Oh, we got Impact Wrestling, Fightful. This Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Fightful Gaming. Me, Joel Pearl, and I don't know if we'll have a guest or not, but we usually have a guest on there. So
it will not be me. I'm making it clear now. I'm doing a pre-show, real show, and post-show on Thursday. If Joel Pearl, even in the chat, is like Impact watch along, I'll just destroy something. I will lose.
The only time
Anyway,
he came on was when I messaged you about it. You were like, dude, I feel like I owe you one. I'll come on for this.
I would like to give myself credit for not interrupting any of that with the news that Chris Paul has secured the bag and is staying in Phoenix on a 4-year deal.
You're not lying about securing the bag.
No, Chris Paul, that man knows how to secure the bag. That's what he does. A 4-year deal, $120 million. Yeah, people are like,
I'm not my grandma happy. She lives in Phoenix and she loves basketball. So
there you go.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, he's opting out. He's not gonna. No, don't doubt Chris Paul. This man, if he does one thing well, it's play basketball and secure money. That's what he does. We're back on Twitch tomorrow at 3, probably after 3. There's a Cody media call at 2 that I'm gonna have to cover the shit out of, and
Cody.
There'll probably be a lot of shit. He'll give a ton of quotes. We were gonna do a distraction financials call. I don't know if we're gonna do that. I don't think Joseph has any idea what it is. I have no idea what it is. I was actually gonna do what.
Why would I listen to those things, Jeremy? I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know what they even sound like.
I was actually gonna put together like some like graphs and shit for it. And then I just decided to smoke a bunch of drugs this weekend and not do any of that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'd pop Jensen with that one. So yeah, I don't know what we'll do something tomorrow at 3, even if we just, bullshit and fuck. There might be some more breaking news that we'll just talk about for an hour. Who knows? I think that's it. I think that's everything. The show on Thursday. Connor Casey will be on the show, or the Cody media calls at 2 p.m. Eastern. He'll either be on the main show or the post show. We'll figure that out, and we'll talk to everybody. Who can we raid? We got a fair number of viewers. Oh, it's not gonna let me raid anybody. What is happening? Why can't I raid somebody?
Because you're a hater.
I guess so.
Man.
You said fuck Impact Wrestling, and Impact Wrestling said fuck you.
Yeah, they canceled our watch-alongs just now.
I can't raid anybody. I'm not
Congratulations,
sure.
Jensen.
Yeah.
they're like, and a DMCA copyright strike now.
Hold on, let me go on. I make sure to delete those watch-along streams very quickly.
Yeah.
Those things are gone like within 2 minutes of y'all going off the air.
Thank God. It says some very cancelable things on that show.
Indeed.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Anybody who wants to take that seriously, I'm totally kidding.
Hold on, let me see.
He would never. Jensen's great. He would never.
I'll raid Alex, but for some reason, I'm getting a message. Okay.
If you like pro wrestling, you're good with me. It's that simple. If you're a fan of pro wrestling, we will get along.
That's why you and Jeremy always clash.
Yeah, Jeremy, the lead writer from the biggest wrestling outlet in the world who hates pro wrestling.
I hate wrestling, love this business. Everyone knows this. Everyone knows. All right, we'll raid Alex. Everyone tell her we said hi. Enjoy the stream. Enjoy whatever you're doing tonight. Watch Raw. Don't watch Raw. Gives a shit.